I walk the path of logos. My compass is the truth. With simple words and reason, I'm searching for the proof. But every step I take, they twist the things I say. They label me a shadow and turn my light to gray. I speak of Earth's true form with evidence so clear. Yet heretic they call me, a name that's born of fear. Cursed by rhetoric, I'm bound to see too far. My words are sharp as starlights, but they don't know who we are. In a world of noise and labels, I'm shouting to be heard. Cursed by rhetoric, I'm tethered to the word. I see the false dichotomy, the fight they wanna sell, a trap to keep us blind while truth's a living well. I argue for reality with facts that stand so tall, but they dismiss my reason and build a higher wall. The debunkers point and laugh. They name me what I'm not. In their game of tribes and clouds, my clarity's forgot. Cursed by rhetoric, I'm bound to see too far. My words are sharp as starlights, but they don't know who we are. In a world of noise and labels, I'm shouting to be heard. Cursed by rhetoric, I'm tethered to the word. No ethos in their eyes, I'm a stranger to their trust. My arguments turn to ashes, my voice returns to dust. They cling to their divisions, their battles prearranged, while I'm chasing something deeper, a truth that's never changed. Like Jesus with the logos, I speak to set things right, but the crowd cries heretic, and they snuff out the light. In life the mobs are howling, their memes outrun my plea. A cycle of dismissal, no one hears the real me. I argue words not flat, yet their label loops again. A paradox of reason, where truth becomes my chain. But logos is my fire, it burns through all their lies. I'll keep on asking questions till clarity survives. Cursed by rhetoric, I'm bound to see too far. My words are sharp as starlight, but they don't know who we are. In a world of noise and labels, I'm shouting to be heard. Cursed by rhetoric, I'm tethered to the word. I weave my words with patience, find bridges where I can. A question, not a sermon, to reach the heart of man. I'll sidestep all their labels with humor and with grace, and plant a seed of reason in this distracted place. For truth, a quiet journey, through arguments we roam, with logos as my guide, I'll find my way back home. So call me what you will, I'll still seek what is true. The word's my steady anchor, and I'll keep breaking through. Cursed by rhetoric, I'll bear this heavy load. For truth's the path I'm walking, and logos lights the road.
Live. That was a new tune I made that one the other day. Welcome everyone. I don't know whether everyone's aware, but we have been doing a lot of logic, and we make arguments and stuff. That's what we tend to do here. I know I've been doing it for a while. I've presented these arguments to people, and it's sort of got us a bit of a name, to be honest. But what I've noticed, that is, yes, logos is, the word. But it's the way I sort of derive truth, through logic. I think that's how everybody should derive truth, really. You can't really get to a truth without an argument. And sort of the argument's how you sort your head out to come to a realization. Like within logic, the traditional logic, the argument, not the new one that's been derived through bickering and shouting at people and calling each other names. Not the new type of debate, but the old idea of discussion. The argument is meant to be discussed, to refine it, tweak it, make it better, so everyone can benefit from the understanding. That's the way I consider the argument, and that's the way I've always been working. Through logic, derive an argument and present the argument to make a case. A debate should be two opposing sides presenting arguments to support each side of a dialectic. People should have a reasoned discussion about it. But that's changed, massively. In modern times, it seems that there's a lot of people that say, well, they say for one, there is no proof within science. That's only within, certain realms that we're in, within the arena, let's say. And then you've got the arguments that have changed. The arguments that people think they've got, but don't really. They're not really arguments that people have. They're imagined arguments. Just talking points that have been going around for years without actual any form of argument. There's no way you can link these things together in order to form an argument. So we are here today to talk about like an argument, and I think in my understanding, you don't end up with arguments like this one that's going to be presented tonight really ever. It's it's sort of a once in a lifetime sort of thing for anyone to have landed upon this argument, but we have. Our friend Elderbear has discovered an argument just floating around there. It's always been there. It requires a certain person or whatever to find it. I mean, now I reckon there's going to be a lot of people that say that they already knew this. But you'd have to say that why didn't they come out and say anything to anybody about it? Why'd you keep it a secret? All of these facts have been there. They've been floating around for ages, but what it requires is somebody to put them in a specific order to form an argument. So tonight is a masterclass in the argument.
Wow, that sounds a bit grandiose.
Yeah.
A big build up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny because it's yeah, you say, yeah, I mean, it's quite simple, really.
Yeah.
And you kind of wonder, yeah, like, I mean, people have said, yeah, we knew that, you know, but didn't seem to know it. Or I think, well, I haven't heard anybody talk about it in all the time that I've been around listening to people. There's lots of people around here who've been around longer than me, and they haven't heard it either. And but yeah, I guess there'll be people who'll poo-poo it, really reject it, you know.
No, well, we specifically heard today that, you know, we heard the other day Flatsoid, he doesn't want to acknowledge logos. He doesn't want to acknowledge logic. He doesn't want to acknowledge the form of how logic's derived from the definitions to the, you know, the first principles of the idea, right? The concept has to start somewhere. Whenever you're making an argument, you're sort of forced into a first principles position. Now, Flatsoid's told us he can't go there, and today we did hear Nathan Oakley say similar sort of thing. He doesn't need arguments. He doesn't want arguments. He's risen above arguments. He's just stating things, but doesn't think that his claims or anything can be placed at the premise one as an argument, which is
doesn't care.
It's a bit weird, isn't it?
It is, because the strong basis of the flat Earth has been the black swan, and that's, you know, I mean, it's laid out as in a logical form. It's a modus tollens, it's said to be. It's obviously not. We've been over it before, but you know, they hold a lot by it. You know, all the mods at 24/7 have a black swan as their avatar, and you know, it denotes something. It's yeah, what's been, seems to me to be the go-to for, I don't know, however long it's been around. And today Nathan's basically saying, you know, it's done with now. It's reached its entropy. I guess that means, you know, the swan has died and is decomposing, you know, as entropy demands. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust for the black swan.
I think that really what he's saying is that they can't address it. They, you know, like QE and Nathan Oakley are never going to be able to talk about the black swan yet. Nathan Oakley's got a book, and this black swan is going to have to go in the book. Therefore, the claim is going to be made in black and white, supposedly, if the book ever gets printed.
Yeah, he spoke about having spoken with refracted curvature about the chapter in the book that is about the black swan, so it is obviously going to be, part of the book. Yeah, I mean, there are 24/7 flat earthers, waiting with red pen poised to, highlight and underline the fallacies and the things that they can't agree with. And I guess that's, yeah, well, it seems clear that that's why they can't have Nathan over there, because the claims he has are unfounded, really, don't have any observable data. And I think they kind of embarrasses them, because they're the ones on the street who have to, support these statements, these claims, without any backup, without any real knowledge about what it is. Nathan doesn't seem to know what it is either. It's surprising how little is known by most of the people when you ask them an in-depth question. What does that formula mean? What's the square function in that formula of the 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height? What does that actually mean? Well, I don't know. It's just, it's the globe thing. They gave it to us and we just use it. But surely it would be, if you're going to use it as a basis of your own claim, or as a refutation as a basis of your claim, I think you'd ought to know what it meant, wouldn't you? You'd have to understand what actually that formula means. And it doesn't seem like anybody really does. And I find those things quite surprising, really, after all this time. And some of the things we kind of stumbled across, really, that I thought, surely this has been spoken about 8 years ago, 10 years ago. How long people have been around doing these things, and amazed how long some people have been putting their time in on this on both sides. Some of them seem to be full time. I don't know how they manage it full time for years, but they don't seem to have asked some of these questions. Yeah, I mean, these things are out of the, say it's observable data. It's what I've heard people say. It's from that. It's from the basis of what I've heard people say. It's what I've seen, speaking to somebody on 24/7 today, and it's, well, who said that? Prove it. Who said it? I said, well, it's on your server. It's, you say go to the 24/7 home server, and we've got terabytes of resources over there. Say, go and read it through. Go over there, and there it is. There is the claims they make. And as much as they say, oh, we don't follow Nathan Oakley, we don't care what anybody says, the majority of the citations for some of these things are based on Nathan Oakley's videos, or 10th Man, or such people.
Yeah, you've literally watched us over the last few days be banned, and from most of the Discord servers and channels and the flat earthers, because of the arguments. First off, Geo couldn't handle the false dichotomy, which is two modus tollens arguments. That's it.
Yeah.
That's what the false dichotomy is. So, they're getting upset about the arguments that we're making. And this one's, well, I mean, once you get walked through this argument, I think, that's the end for flat earth, really. I don't know.
I can't really see a way out.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see, I've already heard, some reactions. We never said that. Oh, that's rubbish. What's that kind of stuff? Yeah.
So if we'll put the thingy open, right? The Discord, as always, it's open. So if anybody does want to come in and discuss this argument, it's a very simple argument that, hopefully we're going to walk through the whole thing, how the arguments formed and where it came from and the ideas that formed it. So hopefully other people can do the same sort of thing. Now, other people can take on these arguments, right? They're not exclusive to Elder Bear, for instance, or me or whatever. But in order for you to take the argument on, it's not just good enough for you to use the words. You need to be able to work through and understand, you know, how these pieces fit as, I like to say, as Elderbear has, in order to form the argument in the first place. So it's not just as simple as you saying the words. Like Nathan Oakley repeats the words for QE's fallacious modus tollens. He doesn't know that it's a fallacious modus tollens, but he's ditched it anyway. He's gone beyond it. So I think so that they don't need to actually talk about it, because they should be able to talk about the arguments. That's what we're going to say tonight. Anybody wants to come in and talk about this argument, come in. If you have any comments that you hear in the chat, put it in the chat. I'm sorry about people if you're on Twitter. I don't know how to get the chat integrated in from Twitter. So maybe somebody will keep an eye on that, but I don't even know where the chat would be on Twitter anyway. So try and type in the Twitter, or better still, come into the Discord and, you know, have your say about these arguments, because I think this should be a trend that people should have. I don't know why they haven't. Now, as Nathan Oakley said today, this started for us let's say a month or so ago, when I was saying that it's been 5 years since the Black Swan was introduced by QE into this arena. Now, we spotted the fallaciousness of that argument all of those years ago. And we was sort of asking people how their argument has changed over that 5 years that we've been in the arena. Now, some people may have not been in the arena as long. Elderbear, I don't know whether he was in the arena 5 years ago when the Black Swan was coming out, you know, or anything like that. There's some people that weren't around, so they won't understand, you know, how the argument came in and what happened. But I'd say that in the 5 years since then, the only people that have been making arguments is us here. And that's because we have a reason, a purpose to make those arguments. People are falsely labeling us, so we make arguments to prove that that's not true. We make arguments to make statements about stuff. We make arguments to falsify claims that people make, which is this argument tonight. This, I'll state it again, this argument tonight is specifically targeting a claim of measured flat. Nothing else. That's all this argument tonight is meant to do. It's meant to falsify a claim that somebody said about measuring something flat. And what a ride. What a ride. Realm Walker says it's been 15 years. But we were saying, Realm Walker, earlier, I've got a thing made by Level Bastard. Shout out Level Bastard. It was the most knowledgeable logician that ever lived, and in that there is a stated case that, you know, falsifying these things and making an understanding about how the fallaciousness is a worthwhile journey in order to go on a learning process. So I'm guessing that the 15 years that you've been in the arena is more of a 15 years of wondering what's going on, whether you're trying to falsify people's claims or trying to find a truth. But it seems like there's no arguments there. There's nothing actually around, which is what we're hoping to try and do. We're trying to bring a clarity to all of this stuff for people. So, Elderbear, how do you want to do this? Where do you start?
Not sure, really. I mean, I wasn't around 5 years ago. I've been kind of less than 2 years, I think.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been quite a journey of discovery. And
So initially, you came into the arena
this
for
is
whatever purposes, and ended up finding.
well,
Go on, take us on a journey. How do you get
yeah,
to make an
yeah. I mean,
argument?
I said before, I came along to look at what is the flat Earth. People around me were talking about it, and on some radio shows, and I didn't even bother to look at it. It wasn't something that was in my world, and I decided I just need to look just to find out what really it's about. So I can just have an opinion. If somebody talks to me, I can say, yeah, I've looked at that, and this is what I think. And so I began to look at it, and it's always been the flat Earth that I was looking at, because that was what was being offered. I didn't have to look around for the globe, because it's never been big in my life, but it was, it's around. I don't know if anybody goes searching for it really, or looking for more detail, or wondering about it. It was just wondering, where do they see the flat Earth? Where does somebody see that? And trying to understand what people were saying. And so, yeah, so I started on a journey of listening to things, and it was pretty surface level stuff. I mean, there was things that brought up questions in my life, thinking, oh yeah, I hadn't really thought of it, looked at it that way. But there wasn't. I guess it was like Dave Weiss's, his interviews. He'd be talking to people on a little podcast or something, and they'd never heard of the subject before, and said, "Oh, look, we got this guy on tonight, and it's called Flat Earth Dave." And we've got some questions to ask him, and they kind of seemed blown away by Dave's presentation, but didn't really have any real questions to put to him, really. So I was kind of looking for more things to find out, and hear some rebuttal from the other side, which led me to some debates and Witsit and modern day debate, later Geronism. Listening to people back and forth in a debate of varying levels, and trying to understand what was being said. Some of it was quite deep, or seemingly deep. Some of those things don't seem as deep now as I thought they were. But yeah, wasn't looking at the globe, and in fact, all the things I've learned about the globe subsequently came from flat earthers. And they say, "Oh, we've been indoctrinated. You've all been indoctrinated with this stuff since you were a child," and I don't think people are really. I certainly wasn't. I didn't have all these numbers in my head and ideas about interferometry, or how fast the Earth is spinning at this place, or going through the universe, or whatever. The numbers that are rattled out, and then measurements for things. 1.225 times the square root of the observer's height. And you think, what does that mean? What is that? I mean, yeah. And then it brings up, you have to ask yourself about, what do I understand about maths or geometry? And some of it can be a bit daunting, really. You find, oh God, I don't, somebody says this stuff, you go, oh yes, 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 yes. And don't necessarily understand what the hell they're talking about, And I've tried to understand. Try to think, I need to understand. I don't want to be just going, oh yes, 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 and
Well,
repeating things,
when you
because I see a
came
lot of
into
people
it as
repeating stuff.
looking at the flat Earth, did you already have an idea of globe, or
Not,
like were you just
not
curious about the flat as to what
Not
was
really.
going
I
on?
mean, yeah, in the way that I see people talking about,
Oh,
I think I never thought like that. I never had a obsession about it, if you like. I've never watched a Star Wars movie. It was never of any interest to me, all that stuff. So I can kind of, vaguely, you go to the beach and you think, oh yeah, the water's curving over there, and not think much about it really. It's a ball. But it's not an everyday, all-consuming thing. I was never really engaged with it. It wasn't something I used in my life. There were much more practical things I was doing that made sense. And yeah, so lots of the things I thought, yeah, it's lying there in my subconscious, that kind of idea, but not in a solid way that I would argue with somebody about it, and say, that vertical's not vertical anymore. That seems an outrageous idea, really. To have said that to somebody. It took me a while to understand when I heard people talking about that. What are they talking about? That's crazy. I mean, what do they mean? And yeah, it takes you a while to learn the lingo and sort of the arguments and the way people go. But yeah, but then after a while, numbers don't add up. The geometry and the maths wakes up in my mind, and I'm thinking, oh yes, yeah, I remember this. I remember this. Yeah. And some of the things are very practical. Triangles are practical, and yeah, I have a kind of I do have an understanding of some things. I'm not a genius by any means, but yeah, thankfully, bumping into you, Bev, and although I'd on my journey, people said don't speak to you. Bev was the pariah, it seemed, and I'd never heard you around, and I went looking, and I looked through your videos, and before I even spoke to you, listened to a lot of things. Thought, oh, okay, oh, right, that's where he's at. And that seems a bit sensible to me, you know. Um, so yeah, and yeah, we've had lots of conversations and reasoned ideas and thought about things and had some epiphanies and some wake up moments, and I began to see more clearly about those things, about just about the truth, of geometry, things you couldn't really say don't exist. And the awareness of some of these numbers that have been coming up recently with the measuring Earth flat, measuring a 1 degree angle to Polaris and getting 69 miles, and the insistence that it's a flat Earth mile. It's horizontal, that 69 miles all the way, and then 10th band saying it's 5,400 nautical miles, and it's another 5,400 nautical miles on the other side of the pole. So that's 10,800 nautical miles of solid, flat, horizontal, flat Earth. I think, well, where, where is that? I certainly don't see it. And
I think it's a bit
uh,
unfair to use nautical miles as well, because I mean, who
yes,
really knows what they are? Like, nobody ever
yes,
uses them.
yeah. And I think it's one of those things again where somebody comes up with some of the nomenclature for something that you don't really know. You don't use every day. We've got kilometers and miles on a speedo. There isn't nautical miles that we're used to every day, and we go, oh yeah, that's it's something for other people, and part of an equation that again tests your knowledge or your understanding, and might put you in an embarrassing position. You haven't got a bloody clue what they're talking about. And so yeah, it was for me. It felt like putting something in nautical miles makes it off limits, makes it so it means more than the statute mile. It's somehow more valid, or it's more of a mystery, or it can be more flat, or it doesn't obey geometry because it's not nautical miles, that kind of
I
thing.
think
So
they think they own it, right? It's part of their script, so they can
it's
take a
far from my head.
possession of it.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, and there seems to be a resistance to when you say, I mean, I didn't think I'd come up to 69 nautical miles. I've heard that through FED and Oakley and Meakin, QE, those kind of people. Generally, in the main, it was those people that put a 69 statute miles to it. So that kind of brought it on the ground somehow, on the earth, off the water, onto the earth, the solid ground. That's where we're all living, and relating it to those things, and then hearing people talk about it in kilometers, which is a bit confusing. But yeah, as the more I saw the picture, the more I saw the model that they claim. The flat Earth claim they haven't got a model, but they do paint pictures for us. And if you say, well, the North's at the center, and Oakley says the flat Earth is latitude. If you say what's the proof of flat Earth a little while ago, he said I just say latitude. Latitude. That's it. You can get an angle to Polaris. It's an elevation angle, which means that it's flat just by having an angle. Well, all the angles I've seen them use and measure with a sextant, neither of those lines have a horizontal baseline. So that was my initial argument. Remember when I first spoke to Oakley, the horizontal, the observer's standing on. I said, but you're not standing on one. The sextant's at your eye. The vertices, where those two lines join is in your eye. It's nothing to do with your feet. And neither of those lines are horizontal. So where is this horizontal? You're standing on this wobbly boat. This didn't make sense at all, how they can conceive that because they call an elevation angle that somehow everything's flat. Didn't make any sense. Doesn't make any sense to me at all now. And so a picture builds in my mind of when I'm hearing 5,400 nautical miles. I'm thinking that's a hell of a distance. There's no way that's flat. I've never seen that, never experienced it. Can't imagine it at all. And then who it was I saw, or something clicked about the relationship between this distance from the North Pole to the equator and the circle of the equator, because it's described as a circle of equal elevation or equal altitude, depending on who's speaking. And that's, I see that as a circle drawn with a compass in my mind about the North Pole at a certain angle. And when the latitudes are imagined, drawn on a chart or whatever, they're all circles from the North Pole. And this is on flat Earth and concentric, and then the circles are equal, and out they go, and we get to the equator, and that's a massive circle. And so for every 1 degree that's measured to Polaris, by the time you move away 69 miles, you'll measure a different difference of 1 degree. It'll be either one less or one more. 69, 70 degrees. 69, 68 degrees. In between each of those degrees is 69 miles. And it sounded like a solid claim. That's been the solid claim I've heard for the last nearly 2 years, since the beginning of 2024, when Nathan started his hashtag the Earth is measured flat. So there's 90 of those that are measured between the North Pole and the equator, and each of those 91 degree parts measures 69 miles. And so I kind of added those up. 90 multiplied by 69 miles, and come to 6,210 miles. I remember Nathan always saying the globe came from flat Earth measurements. So I was beginning to wonder, well, where do they must repeat somewhere. If it was first measured on a flat Earth and then somebody did some magic some way back in history and put it onto a cylinder and projected it onto this globe, blah blah, that he talks about, that those were they real measurements in the first place? In which case, that 3959 that's talked about with the globe, that must relate to the flat Earth somewhere. These numbers must relate with each other somehow. And I was looking for things that were the same and to try and understand how could that be? Could that possibly be? But yeah, and so I began to ask questions to try and get some commitment on the numbers, and got the 69 solid and the 1 degree, and I was looking for the circumference of the equator, and seems everybody says it's the same as that on the globe, 24,901 miles. And understanding the relationship between from the center point to the circle, the edge of the circle, that's the radius, straight line, and there is a mathematical relationship between that and to be able to calculate the distance around that circle, along that circle, and I thought, wow, they don't add up. It doesn't. It's more. If the radius is 6,210 miles, the radius is 39,019 miles. And that's not 24,901. But the claims are really bold. 10th man, it's 5,400 nautical miles. They're really bold claims. They haven't made a mistake. The equator is a circle. They keep saying it's a circle. So those things, they have to add up, don't they? They have to add
Did
up.
I hear Nathan today try and get out of the idea that the equator is a circle on the flat Earth? Did I hear him trying to get out of that?
But on Friday, he certainly said it was. He was asked, is the equator a circle? Yes, very boldly said it was. Today, all he's interested in is if the Earth is measured flat. Is it then? It is measured flat. That's it. That's all I need to know.
Yeah,
I
but
don't
didn't
care about the
Jardo
numbers.
come in today to sort of say? He came in
Yes.
briefly,
Yeah, you're right.
just to try and point out that flat earthers do
Yes, they
think
were
that the equator's a circle.
Yes.
They do.
Yes, he said they are circles of equal elevation, aren't
Yeah.
they? That's right. As if he was trying to prompt Nathan or nudge him. Man, hang on, mate. Wait. Don't forget, it's been circles of equal elevation. I mean, get 3 of them, you know where you are. Saving lives at sea. It's been Nathan's mantra for nearly 2 years now. He was so happy he'd found something for himself that he could put his name to that wasn't the Black Swan. No, that's not mine. And he said, for years, his bombastic nature and his swearing and at people was a shield to cover his lack of confidence in what he was saying. He wished he'd had this Earth as measured flat 10 years ago, but this is what he's come up with and felt, I've got something that's mine. I can, it'll be on my gravestone. The Earth is measured flat, Nathan Oakley, and everybody will go something for hundreds of years, to Hampstead Heath or Parliament Hill or some, buried next to Karl Marx or something. Yeah, he seemed to be very proud of it, but now he seems to be running from it, running from the specifics of it, certainly. He just thinks, oh, well, as soon as you say elevation angle, that means it's flat. It's a right angle triangle, and that means everywhere's flat, which seems to me to be a ridiculous claim. So, yeah, it's... the argument's grown from there. It was not something I thought I'd come up with or think about, but it was over the last month or two, I kind of began to see the power of it, and it kind of, those things sort of germinated in my mind, really, and thinking, yeah, they're not that. Again, it was, understanding the logic and the syllogism. I mean, that's a big word, isn't it? Logical syllogism sounds pretty grand and something for somebody who went to Eton or something, or some, Harvard or Yale. If you use language like that, you need to be intelligent. But it's really, when you think about it, it's not. And it just has to follow a logical path of asking a question. Does it conform to the answer? If it doesn't, then what you said in the beginning isn't really upheld. It's not true. So you're testing things like that and trying to find things that are solid and problem solvers, I guess. Yeah, I guess it's we're finding a solution to a problem.
And
And
as well, the other flat, not flat, measured flat argument's already been made about the mountains.
yeah,
Right, so that was the most basic one. People have always had a go at me. Oh, flat earthers don't say that. It's like, well, it doesn't really matter. It's an argument that states that the Earth's not flat. The Earth's not measured flat because of the vertical changes. But this is a different, along the same lines, because obviously, if you can falsify something, then there's many different ways for you to falsify it. But this is it's like we say, this is another measured flat sort of, how do you verify it? You know, can you do it? I don't think you can do it. So if you can't do it, then, you know, like, how do we make an argument to put forward a case, you know, that it's not?
Do you have an argument?
Oh,
Huh?
yes, Brenda. That's what Elderbear's going over.
I was curious about
you're a
something.
logician, aren't you? A bit of a mathematician as well at the same time.
So I was curious about what Elder Bear said about vertical not being vertical.
Yeah, don't worry about that.
How does that make any sense?
Vertical's always vertical. But I mean,
Yeah, vertical.
when
That's
I
just
said that the other day, Brenda, Geo and McToon said that that's flat Earth if you say vertical's vertical. So you've got to be careful what you say
I don't
and
know
who
the
you say it
context.
to.
I
Well,
don't
like,
know the
you've just come in and
context.
said it. I know. Vertical's always vertical, isn't it?
I was listening on YouTube. I
Mhm.
heard Elder Bear say vertical is not vertical.
No,
And I came in to ask him what I came. No, but he said that other people say that, and he was
Isn't that what you come to say,
talking about
Brenda?
that. So just a minute. And so I came in to ask what he means by that, because it doesn't make any sense to me.
Okay.
Well, it doesn't make any sense that vertical's not vertical or vertical is vertical.
Yeah, but obviously you mean something else.
Oh, really? Maybe to you, but you know, maybe you
Well,
think vertical's not vertical.
do you know what a tautology is?
Is it vertical?
You don't. You don't
It's
know.
an argument that's always true in every case, even when you do the contrapositive, right, Brenda? And it's always
It's-
true.
Tautology
Always
is
brings a truth value.
it's a tautology is like A equals A. And so all you're saying is A equals A. And I'm saying I don't understand the context. There must be a context that you're mentioning without verbally making explicit that I don't know about. And I'm curious what that is.
Right. Well, do you want to let Elder Bear
Well,
present the argument to you,
understand?
Brenda?
Do you
Well,
understand where I'm coming
yeah.
from
I
at
don't know.
least?
Yeah, A is vertical. That's here.
Yeah.
Over there's another vertical called
And that's
B.
vertical.
That's vertical too. So A is
Yeah.
A and A is B. Right, they're both
No,
vertical. That's it.
A is A and B is B,
Okay. So,
right?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
and A is the same as B. B is the same
How-
as A.
They're
Yeah.
both
No,
vertical.
that doesn't follow.
Yeah, it does that they're both vertical.
Prove it.
What?
Both
Yeah,
vertical.
vertical's vertical.
No.
Are
If
you
A
arguing
equals
for
A,
it or against it, Brenda? We're
I'm
talking about
arguing
vertical, remember? Not A, vertical.
A equals A,
Vertical equals vertical.
A equals A,
Vertical
and B
equals
equals B.
vertical.
It doesn't follow that A equals B.
Vertical equals vertical.
It doesn't follow.
If,
You need to
if
provide-
vertical at B is vertical at B,
What's the
and
inference?
vertical
What's
at
the
A
inference?
is vertical at A, then they're both vertical.
What's the inference?
Vertical. They're
No,
both
that's
vertical.
not an inference.
Do you not agree that they would both be vertical? A vertical at A and a
I'm
vertical
saying-
at B would both be vertical, wouldn't they, Brenda?
They're both vertical, but it doesn't
There you
follow
go.
that A equals B, does it?
No, but they're both vertical, so that
So
you
they're
can
not.
say they
So-
are both
right.
vertical.
Yeah.
Yes,
A
exactly.
is vertical, B is vertical.
Yep,
So A and B
are both
are
vertical.
vertical.
Are
but
both
it doesn't-
vertical. Yes.
Bev, it doesn't follow that A equals B.
No, because they're different locations.
Right.
Yeah. So nobody would be
Right.
saying that they would be the same location. But
So
the
you
vertical,
can't conclude B from A then.
you can conclude that they're both vertical, which is what we were saying. Vertical is
Yeah.
vertical. Yes.
Yeah, but that doesn't say anything. That doesn't tell me what vertical is.
Vertical.
No, it doesn't tell me what it is.
Plumb.
What is it?
Plumb.
Oh, yeah. And can plumb point in different directions
Vertical.
on the globe? on the globe,
Vertical.
different directions.
Vertical's always vertical, Brenda. I thought we
So,
just agreed on that.
this is why people accuse you of being dishonest, Bev.
I don't know. I don't know where you're going, Brenda. We just agreed that
Yeah, you
vertical
do.
was
Yeah, you
always
do.
vertical.
You do, because you're avoiding, and that signals a kind of that you're lying.
Right. Anyway, would you
Right.
like Elder Bear to present
Do-
an argument that Nathan Oakley
Do
doesn't want
plumb
to?
lines
Or are you
on the
or are
globe.
you like Nathan Oakley, Brenda? Do you not want to hear an argument?
No, I want to have an interaction
Right,
where
which
I,
we're going
you understand.
over, Brenda. We are
It's
going
not be
over
talked over.
Elder
You're
Bear's
acting like Nathan.
argument.
You're acting like Nathan.
Yeah, but we're
Right.
going over an argument, Brenda.
On
Do
the
you
globe,
want to?
It's
we
like,
can go out. We can
all
do this
unmarried men are
after,
bachelors
Brenda.
argument, isn't it?
Yeah.
on the globe are all
On the what?
plums.
Brenda's just
Pointed.
here to
Yeah,
defend
I
the
know.
flat Earth.
No,
I
this
know.
is logic.
Let the Brenda
This is
defend
Nathan
the flat Earth.
Oakley
Yeah.
said,
This is
Brenda,
logic.
get over there. They're going to say that argument. And we don't
This
want
is
you
logic.
to do it.
This is logic.
Brenda,
the thing that you
Are you
pretend
going
to
to
be
let
interested
Elder
in.
Bear present
Sure,
you
go ahead,
an
go ahead.
argument?
Go ahead.
How many different types of argument do you
Brenda?
know? Go on.
I'm waiting.
Yeah, here we go. Present an argument to us, Elder Bear. See, you get your
Yeah.
rhetoric together.
Okay, so we've looked at some arguments, and I guess the ones around in the arena that are more commonly known, I guess you might have heard of modus tollens or modus ponens. And when we thinking about begun to talk about these things, we were kind of looking to see what form of argument it might fit.
Would
and-
this be in the live chat? Can I look there for your argument?
No, you can't. You just open your ears.
So
Not-
I would
not yet,
prefer that you
Brenda.
write it down. I prefer.
Yeah, it is,
you know-
Brenda.
Yeah.
It is,
Well, I'm
Brenda.
not
Let
here
him
to, Brenda.
present it first, Brenda. Should I mute you, Brenda, or can you just sit and listen?
The logical form of this argument is called the destructive dilemma. Right, and it's the measured flat destructive dichotomy. So as they kind of call it. Okay, here we go. If it's said that the Earth is measured flat by measuring an angle to Polaris, for every 69 miles measured along a north-south longitude, there will be a 1 degree change in the angle measured to Polaris. This can be personally verified in reality. Therefore, the distance between the GP of Polaris, 90 degrees, and the equator, 0 degrees, will be 90 times 69 statute miles, and this is 6,210 linear flat miles. Each of these measured angles also coincides with the given circles of equal elevation known as latitude lines, thereby describing the equator as a concentric circle centered at the North Pole with a given radius of 6,210 statute miles. The circumference of the equator on measured flat Earth is said to be the same as the given distance on the globe model. This is 24,901 miles. The circumference of a circle is derived from the geometric function 2 pi r or pi d. The logical form of the destructive dilemma is if P, then Q. If R, then S. Not Q, therefore not P. Not S, therefore not R. If the Earth is measured flat with a radius of 6,210 miles, with the circumference of the equator 24,901 miles. If the circumference of the equator is 24,901 miles, with a radius of 6,210 miles. If the Earth is measured flat with a radius of 6,210 miles P, the circumference of the equator must be 39,019 miles, not Q. Not Q, therefore not P. If the circumference of the equator is 24,901 miles with a radius of 6,210 miles, then the value for pi on flat Earth must equal 2, not s. Not s, therefore not r. A measured flat Earth destructive dichotomy leaves the flat earther claiming that the Earth is measured flat with a tough choice. Choose wisely. Yeah, that's it.
Could you write that down, put it in the live stream text chat, please?
Oh, I don't
You're
It's
know.
gonna
hard to
call it-
remember. It's multiple steps. It's hard to
I
remember.
know.
It's-
You're going to
it's
call
not
it a
very- Not
meme?
very difficult.
Because I've heard a lot of people say that, you know, whenever you write it down like that and put it in a thing, they say it's not an argument anymore, it's a meme. Have you ever heard of a destructive dilemma, Brenda? Do you reckon you could Google it to make sure it is actually?
I had not heard of it until now.
I know. Imagine that. You learning some logic for the first time from Elder Bear. It's great, isn't it? I learned
Do
that.
modus
through
So,
Elder
tollens
Bear.
so
together.
I'm confused about what is supposed to be the conclusion. Your form is if P then Q, if R then S,
Yeah.
not Q, therefore not P,
Yep.
not S, therefore not R.
Yep.
And what is the conclusion?
What is the conclusion? It's a destructive dilemma. Well, I would say the flat earthers would be far better off not even looking at the argument because it's so good. Can you see what happens, Brenda?
Could you just tell me what the conclusion is supposed to be?
It's a it's a dichotomy, right? You're given two choices, as you know, within an argument.
Yeah.
And then if you choose either, this argument falsifies the flat earth. Whichever one you want to choose.
Right. Okay,
You
so it's a
falsify
dilemma,
the
and I'm
fa-
supposed
It's a
to
destructive
choose.
dilemma. Yeah.
Dude, I'm supposed to choose between P and R. Is that right?
Brenda, do you state that
I'm
the
just
earth is...
asking.
Brenda, do you state that the earth is measured flat?
No.
Okay. So it's not really for you, right? It's for people who claim that the earth is measured flat. Because as we all know, these measurements are made in reality, aren't they? 69 miles, 1 degree. It's actually a real measurement, isn't it? We can
See, all I'm
verify
seeing
it. You
is-
can
see, all I'm
verify it,
seeing
can't
is-
you, Brenda? The 69 miles to 1 degree change in angle to Polaris along a north-south line is something that
You
can be
must have heard that.
verified.
You must have heard that, Brenda, over the years, haven't you?
Yeah. I
1
mean,
degree,
you won't have
69
verified it,
miles.
will you?
I'm having a hard time hearing you because there's a lot of noise.
Wow. Is it a party or something?
Right. So, no, it's not a party. Somebody's having a bad day. So, what I see here is,
So the 69
Two-
miles, right? Brenda,
two-
this is the thing, right?
I would like
This
it
is
if
the
I
thing.
could just talk,
Yes.
please,
But
without
I was just trying to
interrupting me.
point out that the initial part of this argument relies on the fact that
Not
the
an
angle
argument.
measurements... It's a destructive dilemma.
It's not an argument. It's
It
a
is.
dilemma. It's not a dilemma. Isn't an argument.
It's a destructive dilemma. It's got two
Yes,
modus
it's a
tollens
dilemma.
both together.
Yeah, you have
Yeah.
two modus tollens.
Yeah, so they're arguments, Brenda. And when you put them together, it's a destructive dilemma. But the 69 miles, Brenda, can we just verify? Have you ever measured an angle to Polaris?
Possibly when I was a kid.
Okay,
Probably with a protractor and a straw.
that's a good one. What about the 69 miles? You've heard of the claim that
Yes,
there's a 1
it's not
degree
entirely
change.
It's not actually accurate,
How
but
do
it's
you
good
know?
enough.
How can you make the claim that it's not entirely accurate? You've never done it. It wouldn't be very accurate if you did it with a protractor and a straw, because that's not a very accurate tool for measuring angles to Polaris, Brenda. So I can understand why you may not think it's accurate. But other than that, that's a baseless claim that you've just made.
No, it's not baseless.
Well, you've never done the angle, so you can't verify it.
That doesn't matter.
So what makes you say that it's not accurate?
There's reference material that says it's slightly different at the pole than at the equator.
Yes, within a
because the
variance
Earth-
range, yes.
Because the Earth is
68
an
point
oblate. It's
something.
not a perfect sphere. It's oblate, and therefore there's the difference.
What's the variance? What's the
I don't
variance, as
remember.
far as you
I don't
know, or you
remember.
know?
I could
Is
look it up.
Yeah. you
Is
could
it massive
Google it.
variance or
But the point,
It's
the
small.
point is
Matter
that
of a-
you could
matter of a
verify
mile
this,
or
Brenda.
less?
Yeah, I can't hear you when you both talk over each other.
Yes, you
I say,
could
is it-
verify it.
You're talking over each other
Yeah,
again.
you could verify it, Brenda. But you won't.
Sure.
Right?
I don't have to.
But you could. I know. Like Nathan Oakley said the same
But-
thing.
So you-
It's strange.
I don't
Have you come
have
to
to.
save the flat earthers or something here? Or
Are you
what?
saying that I can't
What
use
are you trying to do?
references? Are you saying I can't use reference material?
You can do whatever you want, but go on, go.
Yeah.
I
So
said,
I can
what's the
cite.
variance. It's not very big, is it? What,
Yes.
a mile, 10 miles?
It's very small. I don't remember what exactly it
so
is. It's in the
fairly
decimal points,
fairly insignificant then.
but not
to
exact.
the argument.
But not exact.
Fairly insignificant to the
But
the
not
argument.
exact. But not exact.
All right, yeah, you sound.
I don't think that the difference is going to matter to your argument. You're saying
No.
that according to flat Earth, the equator must be 39,019 miles, right?
No.
It's trying to raise.
That's your third if sentence
What are you trying to
in
raise?
that. It says, I'm just reading it.
For
If the Earth
variance.
is measured flat with a radius of 6,210 miles, the circumference must be 39,019, right? That's what flat earthers must claim, right?
Well,
Well, that's
don't
what the
know.
radius derives.
That's what flat earthers must claim. And the dilemma, right, is that it's actually
it's not that.
24,000.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not that. So
Yeah.
you can't
Right.
have a circumference of 39,000. So not that,
They
right?
can't. They
Yeah.
can't.
Okay,
Right.
so that's not flat Earth then, right?
So that
Can
would
you?
falsify flat Earth, wouldn't it?
Yes. That's the whole
Good
point.
job. Good job. Good
Would
job.
falsify the measured flat claim. Now, what about the other
Yeah.
one? The next one?
If the circumference of the equator is 24,901 miles,
Yep.
with a radius of 6,210,
Mm-hmm.
then the value of pi must equal 2.
Mm-hmm.
That would be for flat earthers again, right?
Mm-hmm. Measured flat.
But it's not.
What do
That's
you
not
mean
the
it's
value
not?
of pi.
Just a flat
Right.
That's the value of
Yeah,
pi
but it
for
would
the
have to be for that
circumference
to be
of
so.
the equator.
I couldn't understand you. You both talked over each other.
No. You understand
Sorry.
what it means, though.
What?
You understand that given those numbers, the value for pi would have to be 2.
Yeah, and it isn't. So it's falsified, right?
Not flat.
Okay, well done.
Yeah,
Not measured flat.
right. So you have falsified flat Earth. Congratulations.
Falsified measured flat.
Yeah, flat Earth.
Well, I mean, it's not, because
Are you claiming there's a different measure?
flat earthers do have, like, I mean, this is just the measured flat.
No, it's based.
But
it's
are you
based
claiming
on
there's
the
a different?
observable data? It's based
Yeah.
on the observable data that's been given.
Are you claiming different data?
No, I'm not claiming any different data.
Well,
don't
then
have
you're
updated
falsifying
data.
flat Earth, right?
The measured flat is
The
the claim.
measurements, the claim measurements of the flat Earth.
Right. Well, we presume that they're accurate,
We
right?
already know the Earth's not flat, don't we? We already know the Earth's not flat.
But we presume
yeah,
that the measurements
careful,
are
right.
accurate.
We know that the measurements are accurate because we can verify them ourselves.
Yeah, therefore, the Earth can't be flat.
Well done. Yeah,
There you go. We never
Yeah,
said it was.
congratulations.
Well
You
done.
falsified flat Earth.
yeah.
This is
That was the
modus
whole idea
tollens.
of the.
Modus tollens is falsification.
Yeah.
Right. Congratulations, you're a glober.
Yeah, the real globe. Yeah. Yeah, the Earth's not flat. The Earth's not measured flat. We know, Brenda. We've been saying it for a long time. So you put your weight behind this argument. Do you think it's a good one? Valid? That if...
It's not an argument.
What?
Arguments are premise, conclusion.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have that.
What conclusion did you derive?
It's not my argument. It's not my dilemma.
You said it's
It's
not
not
an
mine.
argument.
It's yours.
Is it an argument now?
Right.
Then?
Not
It's
my
a dilemma.
dilemma. Not my dilemma.
Whose is it?
It's the measured flat, Brenda. People who
Never
claim
is it-
measured
in it.
flat to measuring angles to lights in the sky.
It's a dilemma for whoever it involves. Finds themselves in the dilemma, I guess.
If
I
you
mean,
ever
lots of
hear
people say
anybody claiming
not an
measured
argument.
flat by measuring
There is an argument.
angles to lights in the sky, then
What?
you can use this argument to falsify that claim, can't you?
To falsify what claim?
The measured flat by measuring angles to lights in the sky.
Oh, I have a better refutation of Nathan's nonsense.
This is the distance, the 69 miles between
Yeah,
the
I know.
1 degree angle
It
change.
works. It works. It's a modus tollens. It falsifies Nathan's nonsense about elevation angles. Yeah, but I have a different way of approaching it. But that's okay.
You've
right?
got an argument, Brenda.
Yeah.
Wow. Don't bother telling us. Keep it.
Presentation,
Keep it a
Oh,
secret.
presentation.
did you want to know? It's hard to
Oh,
tell
God.
sometimes what you want. Right? It's
Well, maybe you
it's-
go on.
they're presupposing the truth of their argument, right?
Who? Nathan hasn't got
Nathan
an
is.
argument.
Nathan is.
Nathan doesn't have
Yeah,
an
he is.
argument.
Sure, he does. He says that
What's Nathan's
all-
argument then?
all measurements measure the Earth to be flat, right? He says that elevation angles show that the Earth must be flat because he presupposes his conclusion.
He presupposes his conclusion. Well,
Yeah.
that it's flat.
His conclusion is in one of his premises,
So what's the form of your argument then, Brendan?
right? Do you understand? You understand that is formally invalid when
Nathan,
you presuppose
look, Brenda.
the truth of a premise.
Nathan thinks
conclusion
that
in a
measuring
premise?
an angle makes a measurement of flatness.
Yeah, he's wrong.
Yeah, of course he is. But it's not an argument. It's just a nonsense statement.
Well,
that he's
he
making.
presents it as an argument.
It's not an argument at all.
What's your
He
argument,
yeah.
Brenda? What's your
That-
argument, Brenda, about these
that he's
these
presupposing
statements you're making?
that he's
That's not an argument,
presupposing.
is it?
Yeah, well, the fallacy. I'm
Statement
pointing
you're
to the
making.
fallacy, which is that he
If-
presupposes
What's the
his
form of the
conclusion.
argument?
His conclusion is in one of his premises, and that falsifies his argument. That's my claim.
It doesn't have an argument to start off with, Brenda. I mean, that's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
an
it
argument
does. Yeah,
coming
he
from
does.
you. And it's not
So
an
he
argument
doesn't have
to
an
rebut
argument?
Nathan Oakley's argument either. No, he's got nothing.
So you're saying Nathan doesn't have an argument?
Yes.
He has an invalid argument.
Well, he keeps stating the fallacious modus tollens that QE made 5 years ago. But
Yeah.
other than that, there is no other argument. They haven't
No,
made one.
he begs.
Nobody's
the
made an
question.
argument,
It's a
Brenda.
fallacy.
Even that argument
Yes, he-
that you've just said that wasn't an argument. You think it was. And you think you're
pointed
rebutting
to
an
the
argument
fallacy.
from Nathan, but neither of them are actually arguments. Elder Bear has just read to you an argument.
It's not an argument. It's a
Well,
dilemma.
I mean, that's what Nathan will say as well, isn't it?
That's what any logician should say.
Ask Google if the
Where's
destructive
the
dilemma is
conclusion?
an argument. It's an
Why?
official form of argument. Ask them. Is the destructive dilemma an argument form? Even read it out to you.
It says
P-
it's a rule of inference.
Thank you.
It's not an
Far,
argument.
then
It's an
S.
inference rule.
What is?
It's an
If P,
inference
then
rule,
Q.
not an argument.
If P,
What's
then
your
Q.
argument, Brenda? Brenda,
See, here's what it says.
you're picking
Here's what it
holes in
says.
something else because you want a logical syllogism.
Here's
so
what it
is your
says.
logical syllogism that you
Here's what
said
it's,
you had an argument for, that you
Yeah,
were
here's-
teasing us with, and then said, "I'm not sure if you really want, me to present it or not," but you haven't presented.
here's what it says. It says destructive dilemma is the name of a valid rule of inference of propositional logic. It is the inference that if P implies Q and R implies S, and either Q is false or S is false, then either P or R must be false.
And what about with both of them? Does it say that? You know, a modus tollens is a rule of inference as well.
You didn't understand it, Bev? If P implies Q and R implies S, and if either Q is false or S is false, then either P or R must be false. That's a valid rule of inference.
Yeah, that's a modus tollens, Brenda.
No, it's not.
Yeah, modus tollens is
It's
a valid
ma-
rule
it's-
of inference. Yes.
Modus tollens
it
is in there, but the whole thing isn't modus
I know.
tollens. It's a different modus tollens is an inference rule.
Yeah.
And the destructive dilemma is a different inference rule.
Yeah, but they're both arguments, Brenda. That's the whole point of what they
It's
are.
a dilemma.
It's an argument, Brenda.
Okay.
Yeah, don't say it isn't an argument and then end up having to say,
So you're
oh,
saying
yes, it is an argument.
then either P or R must be false. Well, you didn't present it as an argument.
I think he did.
No, you didn't.
I'm pretty sure.
You never
you go back and
included.
listen to this, Brenda.
You
I think
never
that's what you
included.
did. I said, will you
Brenda?
let
Either
Elderbear
Q is
present
false or
an
S is false.
argument?
You never included.
Here.
You never included the latter part, which is either Q is false or P is false. Then either P or I must be false. You didn't include that part. You left that out.
Not.
You left
Not
that
Q,
out.
or not.
You left that out.
Not. No, I didn't.
An
I said
entity.
If
not
either Q is false, either Q is
Therefore,
false or S is false, then either P or R must be false. That's the conclusion.
Yeah, both of them are false, though,
Right.
aren't they?
You didn't include that before.
For measure flat, both of them are false. Not either, both. Imagine that. That's pretty destructive, right?
Well, it's either or R.
Mm-hmm.
P or R
Yeah,
must
but
be
in
false.
this case, it's both, isn't it? For the flat earthers, it's
No.
doubly bad because both of them are false. So they don't have a way
Yeah,
out.
you don't-
They don't have a way out because both of them are false. It's possibly one of the best arguments anyone could ever present to a flat earther.
Well, as you present it, it's not an argument. As Wikipedia presents it, it is. It's an inference rule. But you failed to present the entire thing. You failed to present the conclusion, which I asked for at the beginning.
What's the conclusion then, Brenda?
I've told you 3 times
What
already.
was the conclusion in that argument?
I've told you 3
Was it-
times.
Was it an enthymeme, Brenda?
The conclusion is if P implies Q and R implies S, and either Q is false or S is false, then either P or R must be false. You didn't include that part. Why did you leave that out?
Because it's an enthymeme, Brenda.
Why did you leave it out?
Because it's an enthymeme, Brenda.
Explain further.
Do you know what an enthymeme is?
No, I don't. What is it?
It's the part of the argument that has to be derived by the individual, i.e. you. So well done. Thank you very much.
No, I'm not responsible for your argument.
For the enthymeme part, yeah. Thank you very much.
No, I'm not. I'm not.
Thank you for your participation. Do you reckon you would like to try and reformulate it, since it's such a strong argument against people who claim that it's measured flat whenever they measure an angle to a light in the sky, such as the flat earth debate crew like Nathan Oakley? Or do you think it's only going to be Nathan Oakley that states it from now on the strength of that argument? Because you'd be a fool to state it now, wouldn't you, knowing that argument's around?
I've always known that Nathan is a fool. He deliberately uses bad arguments because he preys on
It's not an
weak-minded
argument, Brenda.
people.
Don't give him an argument he hasn't got. He's got a ridiculous nonsense statement that has now obviously been proven false by...
It was obvious to
Do you
everybody
reckon,
else
Brenda?
long before this.
Yeah, but do you reckon...
Why didn't you bring it up then?
What do you reckon, Brenda? If somebody has to come up with a conclusion that pi equals 2, would that be a measurement of curvature?
No, that would be an indication that their argument was bad.
Yeah, but would it be a measurement of the curvature of the radius?
No, because they came up with a wrong result, right?
Because pi would equal 2.
Yeah.
Do you not think having to pi equal in 2 is a measurement of curvature?
No, it's a bad argument. I said that already.
What, pi equal in 2 is a bad argument?
That's not what I said.
Oh, good. Because, I mean, it's not a bad argument that pi equals 2, is it? It has to.
If your conclusion depends on pi being 2, your math is bad. It's wrong, right?
Well, the distance to the equator is 6,210, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the circumference of the equator is 24,000 miles, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Would that not make pi equal in 2?
No.
No. Oh.
No. Do you know why?
No. Go on, tell us. It's not due to some Euclidean maths, is it? Hopefully not.
Right. So the distance from the North Pole to the equator is what again?
6,210. 69.
Right.
Obviously, you know,
Right.
the variance, we're not allowing for the individual variances that are there existing between the angles. We are taking it, they are all 69 miles,
Right.
obviously, in that calculation.
So the
but
reason it doesn't work is because the Earth is not.
6,214, let's say. I don't know.
Yeah. The reason it doesn't work
Yeah.
is because you're using the wrong formula.
Well, no, but that is the distance, isn't it? I mean, that can be verified.
From the North Pole to the equator, yeah.
Yes, yeah. That's the thing that can be verified, the individual 69
Yeah. That's
miles
not
between
the
one
true
degree.
radius of the Earth, though.
Well,
What?
it's the distance, isn't it?
Yes, but you have it later. You have it identified as a radius, which is false. It's not the radius,
Is it not?
is it? What's
I
the
don't know
radius of the Earth,
of what?
Paul? What's the radius of the Earth?
I haven't got a clue, Brenda. You tell me. We're just dealing with these numbers, the verified measurements of 69 miles. What's the equator, Brenda? What's the life-saving value for the circumference of
Why
the
do you
equator?
have the distance from the North Pole to the equator labeled as the radius of the Earth?
I don't. I just said it's a distance. 69 times 90. That's a distance, right? It's for the measured flat claim. I can't even put north at the center, Brenda. Me.
What is the?
Can't even
So
do
the
that. But you can
Earth's radius
put east
is-
and west at the center, so that's, it's different. We're just talking about the calculations, the mathematical numbers for the measured flat claim. If you're
What's the
measuring
radius
an
of the
angle.
Earth in miles, Bell?
I don't know,
What's the
Brenda.
radius?
I haven't got a clue.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
Oh, I
It's
can tell
30
you. I can tell you what
it's-
10th Man told me. 3959, the Lego Space Blaster.
It's 3,963.1 miles.
Yeah, 10th Man told me 3959.
So not 6,000.
Yeah. I mean those two numbers aren't the same. Yeah, 10th Man might have lied to me, right?
Yeah, but you have it. You have the radius identified as 6,210
I don't have the
miles.
radius. It's
Yes, you
Elderbear's
do.
argument.
I have the infographic open. That's what
Yeah.
I've been reading from. It says the logical form of the destructive dilemma is if P then Q, if R then S, not Q, therefore not P, not S,
Yeah.
therefore
I did
not
say- I did
R.
say this
And
to
then
you,
I go
Elderbear,
down
didn't I?
to the
Go
third.
down to the
They're not
numbers.
our
I go
numbers,
down to
Brenda.
the third.
Brenda,
I go down to the.
numbers.
I go
They have
down
been
to the
collated
third.
from given information from other people.
I go down to
That's
the
where numbers
third
come
if
from. They're
then.
not our numbers. As much as
I
you
go
hear
down
to try
to the
and make
third
it spin
if
it that way,
statement.
that's not true.
Yeah, I go down to the third if statement. It
Mhm.
says, if the Earth is measured flat with a radius of 6,210.
Yeah.
That's not the radius of the Earth.
It's the radius of the measured flat
Tell the people who say so.
equator. Isn't
That's
it?
the distance from the North Pole to the equator.
Yeah, the measured flat Earth, measured flat
Right.
equator.
It's not.
Yes.
It's not the correct distance. Therefore, if the circumference is 24,901 miles with a radius of 6,210 miles, then the value of pi must equal 2.
Mhm.
But those numbers are wrong. The radius is not 6,210.
Of
It's
the
39.
flat
Pop
Earth
39
equator. Where'd you
Nathan's
get that
tomorrow
number
and-
from?
Pop
Huh?
over to Nathan's tomorrow and rejoice and tell him.
Yeah,
Will
tell
you?
him.
Oh, I'm banned from there.
Yeah, so are we.
Yeah.
Yeah,
For saying these
a lot
numbers.
of people are.
Saying these numbers, Brenda. The question about these and saying, hang on, that doesn't make
Right.
sense. Wanker, get off. That was it. The end.
Right. So this has nothing to do with
There's
the
only 3
globe
people have been
measurements.
banned from the
Does it?
FED Discord. 2 of those are me and Bev.
Yeah. So
think
this
I
doesn't
remember
have. This
Rumpus
has
being
nothing
banned
to
as well.
do. This has nothing to do with the globe. It has to do with the flat Earth, right?
Exactly. It's a measured flat
Oh, you
Earth
didn't. You,
argument.
what you. Yeah,
Right?
that's what it's called.
Right?
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with the globe. It has to do with the flat Earth proving it wrong.
You didn't,
Well,
Right.
and
didn't
the
hear
actual
anything.
idea that you can verify these things in reality. So it does have a lot to do with the real globe. These
No, that would be a
measurements.
separate. That's a separate question whether or not you can verify them.
No, it does say it states up at the
How
top
would
of
you-
the argument. Did you read
How
it?
would you verify? How would you verify the numbers?
You read it. It's 69 miles. You could measure a distance in between an angle change along a north-south line of 69 miles, couldn't you? You could do that.
Yeah, but I would get the wrong numbers.
You would get
Right? Because
wrong
the Earth
numbers.
is actually an oblate spheroid, so the numbers would not be precise.
Could you not measure a distance on a map? Have you not got like
No,
scale maps?
you mean in
America?
real life, not a map. Maps aren't real life, are they?
Yeah, maps are
You
scale
done
scale
anything
maps.
in real life then?
Are maps real life? They're
Have you
not real
got-
life, are they?
If you got scale maps in America, do you actually have them? In the UK, we do.
Are
We
maps
have
are maps real life? Maps aren't
Brenda.
real life, Beth.
Yes, they are. I have got
No,
maps
they're
in
not.
real life. Yes, they
they're
are.
not. They're maps.
Real
They're
life
maps.
things. Yeah,
can
but
be
they
off.
are in real life.
They can be off.
What
They can be
scale
wrong.
maps? Not in the UK, Brenda. We've got some
Is that
good
how
scale maps.
that's not how you validate something though,
Yeah,
is
there
it?
was
You
a-
have to validate
there's
it
a
in real
very-
life, don't
You
you?
can, yes, you can measure
It
a
was a
scale.
So maps aren't real life. So you can't
Maps
verify
are
it.
real
You
life,
can
Brenda.
get
They're
it.
definitely
No, they're
real
not.
life.
No, they're not.
Yes.
You just saying they are doesn't make them true. They're not.
Where did you get your variance from that you mentioned earlier?
From a reference.
Okay, so you go with that then.
Right. So,
So
pre-internet
it's
days,
60
pre-internet
69-ish
days,
miles.
pre-internet days, I would go to the library, go to the reference section, and look up
Right.
the relevant data. Right? That would be validating, wouldn't it?
Yeah, are you
And
saying you
think
can't
do that in
verify?
reality?
Yeah, can't you not do that on a map? Do you not think the map will relate to reality?
Your
the
position,
locations?
your position is you have to personally validate it.
But you would be able to validate that position
But
on a map,
your
wouldn't you,
position,
Brenda?
your position is you have to validate it personally.
Yeah, but you
That's your-
could start
But-
off by placing your position on a map, right? Where you live. You could put an X on the map, right? You could measure an angle to Polaris where you were on that X on that map.
Right, but
Right,
your
then you
claim
could
is that
measure-
that's not validating.
You could measure,
Maps-
Brenda, you could measure along a north-south line 69 miles, providing you use the correct scale that the map is in, place another X on the map, go to that place, stand there, and measure an angle. You could do that, couldn't you?
What if those 69 miles are off?
On the map?
No, in real life.
Right, so would you be at the location on the map
I
that
might
you'd have
be.
marked at?
What,
on the
what if
map?
I'm not? What if I'm not
Why
at
would
the
they be off?
location?
Why would they be off?
But that's
Because
where
maps
you'd
can
have
be
measured,
wrong.
Brenda. You would have
Maps can be
measured
wrong.
another location 69 miles away. Now,
Yeah, but
if
your
you're not
position is you
there,
have to personally
if you're
validate
not,
it.
Brenda, if you're not there where the X is on the map, then that's your fault. for not
it's the
being
It could be
there.
the map's fault. It could
Right,
be the map's fault.
You could go there, right, and find that you are at that location and that the angle isn't
would I know I'm
a
at
1
that
degree
location?
change, because do you not know how to
That's-
use maps?
That's circular. That's circular reasoning. I'm at the location on the map
You
because the
claimed-
map says I'm at the location. That's circular.
Claimed an oblate spheroid earlier, but how did you get that without any measurements? That you're now
Oh,
claiming.
I'm not operating under a broken epistemology.
Do you know how to use maps, Brenda?
Yeah.
Right. So could you direct someone to a location using a map?
Yes, I could.
Okay, so you could put that little X on the map
I
and
could
then
do all those things.
and then get there.
But you claim you have to personally validate it.
No, you just measure
No.
a distance on the map
that's not
using a
validation.
scale.
That's not validating.
It's using a scale.
You're trusting the map. How do you know the map is accurate?
Because you've got a scale map. You've used the
How
scale
do you know?
ruler to measure a distance of 69
It's just
miles.
circular. That's just circular.
What circular?
Right? I'm at the position on the map because I'm at the position on the map.
Yeah, and that
That's
you
all
know
you're
that's,
doing.
that's 69 miles away from the location that you were at
if-
before.
If I can trust maps, then yes. But
Can
you
you not trust
can't
maps in
trust
America?
maps because you don't accept anything
Who
other than
doesn't?
personal validation.
Not true.
That's
not true.
That's not what
true.
we
Oh, so
said,
you're
Brenda.
abandoning your epistemology?
Do you trust maps?
I do. Yeah.
Good.
Okay, and so does Bev. I've heard him say many times to many of you. How do you do it? You measure on the map, scaled map, with a scale ruler. You measure 69 miles. You go there. You measure another angle.
Oh, okay.
Always heard him say he believes in those maps. The ones in the UK were
Right, so-
very accurate maps, and when they were
So a
made
map-
by the people who made them, they didn't make them wrong.
Well, they could have,
How?
right? People make mistakes.
So you mean they
Right.
made a mistake, and that's the oblate bit, the
No.
mistakes they made?
No, I'm not saying
how do
they
you
did
know?
make a
How
mistake.
do you know? How do
I'm
you know
s-
if they made a mistake? You're putting doubt in everybody's mind. They could have done.
The way that you would
Maybe they
check-
made when your lot
Are-
sort of
are you
added it
getting
all up.
triggered?
They said, "Oh, we got a bit of excess here." We'll
sounds
call
like
it a
you're
blade."
getting triggered. The way that you would
Not at
check a
all.
map would be to see if it corresponds with reality, right? That's how you would
No.
check.
How would you do that? How would you know which is reality to go by? So you measure
Well,
it on
I
the
can
map,
tell the
and then you
difference
go
between.
to that place. So how do you measure the 69 miles in reality? After you measured it off the
I
map,
use the appropriate instruments to measure.
what instruments would that be?
Well, it would be depend on whether I'm measuring the miles or the angles,
Would a
right?
protractor and a straw be good enough?
No, you measure the angle. Yeah, protractor saw sounds good. You measure
They
the
wouldn't
angle, and now
work,
you're
but
going to move 69 miles.
they're not precise. I would need a more precise instrument, wouldn't I?
So maybe you got a little business here going, sort of remaking the maps and with cartography, then getting it right.
So
It's
the
wrong.
point that I'm making is that your zetetic epistemology is a broken epistemology because you constantly say that I have to personally validate things for myself, and I don't.
No,
I can
said you
trust.
can.
I
You
can
can
trust.
verify it in person if it exists. Now, you said it
Okay.
exists. You haven't verified
Yeah.
it. You're
So
standing on your claim that it can be verified.
are
Exactly
you
the
saying
same as
if
has
I
been
can't
said here.
verify it? Are you saying if I
You
can't
can verify
verify
it.
it?
You can
No,
verify it if you put your mind to it. Yes.
but do I have to?
No, you don't have to. Nobody said you had
Oh,
to.
okay. Well, then
You
I can
can
just look up. I
verify
can
it.
just
It's possible to verify it.
right. Then I can just look up in the
Okay.
appropriate reference for the uh, curvature and the radius of the spherical Earth and how it is an oblate spheroid.
Mhm.
I can just do that then, can't I?
If that's your question, then you can verify whatever you want.
Yeah.
Nobody's
No,
stopping you from verifying anything.
I don't have to
You're coming
verify
to
it.
your own conclusions. Who said
I
that you
simply
don't have to
look
come
up
to
the
my
appropriate
conclusions, Brenda?
I just look
It's
up the
you doing the
appropriate
measurement,
reference.
and you find your own conclusions to your own arguments. Like the one you haven't presented, you said you were going to present about Nathan. You waffled a lot. You made a lot of claims and statements.
Yeah.
You still haven't
Yeah.
presented your argument.
Yeah. Run
Just come
away.
around
Run
and try
away.
and pick holes in something that you never thought of.
Run
For all
away.
these
Run
years, you've
away.
been humping yourself around the arena.
Just cry harder, dude. Cry harder.
I wouldn't shed a tear on you, Brenda. I mean, I heard your logic the other day about the unmarried men stuff. I mean, if that's the form of your
Do you
logic
know?
and the way you work, then
Do you know what that
well,
is? Do you know what that is? What that was?
yeah, it was your sort of stab at a logical argument.
No, it wasn't.
Well, then explain what it was. Then
You don't
all
know.
unmarried men are bachelors was your
Sounds
claim.
like Brenda's
That was
scripted to
that was
the
an
no argument, no
analytic.
logic.
I was making a difference between analytic and synthetic
You weren't.
propositions.
You were trying to stand proud as though you had some logical argument. All unmarried men are bachelors. I know that, you
Well,
said.
they are, aren't they?
Except for the spinsters, yeah.
Spinsters?
Yeah.
Spinsters are women.
It's 2025, Brenda.
Well,
Come on.
Yeah. I'm inclusive in my arguments. It's okay.
Unmarried men or men of divorced or widowed are bachelors, aren't they?
Well, some man has never been married.
He'd still be a bachelor, wouldn't he?
Well, not if he's a spinster, no.
Yeah.
Men can't be spinsters. A spinster
Well, they can
is
become spinsters, though, can't they? The
No.
unmarried man could at some point become a spinster, isn't that so? Because when you said you weren't a bachelor, I figured you must be referring to yourself as a spinster. That would follow, wouldn't it, logically? If we are to, be respectful.
a spinster is an unmarried woman, dude.
And a man is a man and a woman is a woman. And what's your assignment?
Right. So this is what I'm
What's the
talking about.
difference, Brenda?
That's what I'm
I'm not-
talking about.
Yeah, I know you need to.
We're
you
following
need
your
to,
logic. No,
No,
we're following your logic.
It's not. It's
We're
not.
following your logic, Brenda.
It's not.
If you were a
I
man,
am-
you can't
just
be
a
a
minute.
woman. If you were a bachelor, you said you can't be a spinster. They can't both follow. Can't be one can be correct and the other can be
So can an
incorrect.
unmarried
Got to
man be
follow,
a
surely.
spinster? Can an unmarried
Sorry?
man be a spinster?
Yeah, it's 2025.
Eventually, perhaps. Yeah.
No,
If he-
they can't.
If he wants to be.
What are you?
No, they can't.
Really? So can a man become a woman?
Yes. Transgenders
How does that
are
follow?
right.
Oh, what's the
Bachelor
word
can
for
become a spinster
trans-spinsters?
then. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, that would be complete in your assignment, wouldn't it?
No,
It would be respectful to call you a spinster now, wouldn't it? If you
no,
were
it'd be
formerly a bachelor.
disrespectful.
I don't think so.
I
Any
think
more
that
than calling
you
you a
should
man.
keep.
You know, hang on,
I think that
Brenda.
you should
Lots
keep
of people call
my
Brenda. Lots of
sexuality
people.
out of your dirty little mouth.
It's not how my
I
dirty
think
mouth.
you
You
should
brought
keep
the
it out
argument.
of your
No,
mouth. I think you should keep
Oh,
you-
here we
me
go.
out
Brenda.
of your
think-
mouth.
All right, Brenda.
I
Well,
think
I
you
think then
should
you
keep
should
me
calm
out
down.
of your mouth.
Calm down,
You're
Brenda.
not in my mouth,
Come
Brenda.
I think
on.
you
Come
should
on.
keep me out of your mouth.
Uh-oh.
Then you shouldn't use it as an argument. Then, if you
It
can't.
wasn't
follow
an
it through.
argument. It was an example of an
was.
analytic
You're talking about
statement.
logic.
I've
No,
been
you
to
talk
the
about
You would
logic.
Buster
keep.
and
You would
fucking
keep
you
me
said
out of your
un-
mouth.
An unmarried man is a bachelor, and I said, "Is it possible for a bachelor to become a spinster?" You got upset. Now you think a man can become a woman. That follows. So why couldn't a bachelor become a spinster? What's the difference?
Yeah, it sort of does your all statement at the beginning.
Yeah. I
Oh,
mean,
Brenda's
talk about
gone.
following logic.
Yeah,
you
I
know, the
know.
conclusion.
Obviously.
Brenda just came along to try and pick holes in something for something to do, I think.
I know.
Keep Brenda occupied.
See, there's the the worth of logic for anybody listening. It's 2025. Not all bachelors. Is it? Is that the way you say it? Not all
All unmarried,
married men are bachelors.
All unmarried
Yeah.
men are bachelors.
Not all anymore. It's 2025. They can be spinsters if they want, although Brenda doesn't seem to think they're allowed to be spinsters. There must be another name. Is there another name for men that don't want to be what's the? I don't know. What happens if you don't want to be a bachelor? What do you? Is there another one?
It's disrespectful, you know. It's a logical.
Yeah, I mean it is
Inference, really.
2025. Not all
Yeah.
unmarried men are bachelors because Brenda wasn't. It's a case proving, I think,
Hello.
falsifying his own argument. I presume.
Yeah, perhaps skeptic knows.
Hello, guys.
Hey up.
Is it possible for a bachelor to become a spinster?
A
Skeptic.
bachelor.
That's the-
Hmm.
Yeah, to become a spinster. All unmarried men are bachelors was the claim.
No, you mean it can be married and unmarried at the same time?
No.
No, an unmarried person is called a bachelor. An unmarried man is called a bachelor.
So
Somebody who
it
hasn't
can be.
married.
Yeah, Brenda came
So
in
you-
stating the case that all unmarried men are bachelors.
Oh, really? Fuck. No.
Yeah,
How can that even be possible?
I know, it's 2025. Even Brenda isn't a bachelor. So, let's see.
That's really.
Yeah. That
We have
was
people. Oh,
Brenda's. Imagine that, right? Brenda comes in, makes a claim that all unmarried men are bachelors. And then we say, no, that's not right. It's 2025. And it turns out that Brenda isn't even a bachelor. So, there you go. Disproving the initial claim. Came in with.
fucking
That's
crazy.
good, that,
Logically
isn't it?
false and self-contradictory.
Yeah. That's
A
how.
bachelor, obviously, then-
See, that's how you use logic. I wonder.
Yeah,
I don't
a
think
bachelor
Brenda will
is-
be trying that one again.
No, what I'm saying is a bachelor is by definition a married man. A married man is a bachelor, not a bachelor. So
Yeah, Aaron Armstrong says trans spinster.
obviously, no.
Trans
Trans,
spinster.
yeah.
Trans spinster.
Oh. That's good.
It's not really got a ring to it.
I think probably, all married men are bachelors. Statement is possible in.
That's old
the-
school. Maybe in
no.
back then, like, but not now.
No,
in
no, no.
2025.
No, it's not about 20 to 25. It's basically, it's still valid. It's still valid and true. Logically true in a globe from a global perspective, right?
Aaron Armstrong super
Because
chat.
globals
$2
accept
Brenda's a
contradictions.
Be a
transpinster.
glober to be a bachelor or spinster.
Hey, that did it. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
It could be a
It's-
flat earth spinster too.
Yeah, exactly. It could be, yeah, whatever.
Trans spinster, Aaron says.
Transpenster, yeah.
Yeah. But definitely not a bachelor, right? So,
Yeah.
Brenda's claim that all unmarried men are bachelors is proven false. It's like a self-refuting claim when Brenda says it. It's weird. That couldn't actually see the own fallacy within the logic. Thank you very much, Aaron Armstrong. The value of logic. Imagine.
Did you just say Aaron Armstrong?
I did, yeah.
Oh god, that's bad mic.
Whoa,
Yeah,
wow.
I know, that's right.
I have
Rob.
a bad mic.
Holy.
Very loud mic.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Now you're calling us from 1989. You're progressing backwards.
He
Regressing.
sorted his mic out earlier as well.
How we
Yeah,
see?
mic check.
So 25.
Is that better?
All bachelors.
No, it's not, Rob.
All married men are bachelors.
All unmarried men are
No, all
bachelors
married
is
men.
the claim. No, married men are married. They're not
You see,
bachelors.
unmarried married.
All Brenda came in with
Ellie
the
Savalas
claim
agreed.
that all unmarried men are bachelors. Uh-oh, Aaron
Because
Armstrong.
Aaron Armstrong super chat. $5. Faye Banjo has accused Flatslade of being Illuminati and he and his crew are livid.
Sit down.
Yeah, we were watching that earlier, Aaron. Fe Banjos had a go of accusing Flatsoid. It's just drama. Once they get onto this argument, because we are going to 69 the real globe. Have you heard of that, Skeptic?
Sorry?
Have you heard
What's
of 69 in the real globe?
69.
Yeah. Have you
No.
have you heard of the claim that you can?
Brenda question, you're okay.
Yeah. It's all right. Yeah, nobody's going to ask
state
you
that?
to team up with Brenda.
Stay that.
It's a single bed.
If you measure an angle to Polaris and then travel 69 miles north or south of that original position, the angle measured to Polaris will change by 1 degree. Right? You've heard that.
Nah.
You've never heard of that?
No, I never heard. I've been away from the FE.
Oh, come on. This is a stated claim for years. It's a reality thing.
No.
Right, so here's what you can do. Have you ever measured an angle to Polaris yourself?
No, I never.
Yeah,
Never
well,
did
there
it.
you go. Right, here we go. We're going to be better off than most of the flat earthers or globe earthers in here, right? So what you do is you measure an angle to Polaris. You then check. Don't bother checking first. Make sure that the first thing you do is measure an angle to Polaris yourself. And then you check what your latitude is at the location that you're at. You can do this outside your house, right? Providing, sorry people who can't see Polaris, I don't know what you're going to do.
I can't see Polaris.
You can't see Polaris.
I can't.
Why
can't.
not? You're not
I
in
can't see
France.
Polaris.
Where are you?
No. I'm Morocco.
You can see Polaris from Morocco, can't you?
I don't think so.
I would have
Should
thought
be able
so.
to.
Oh, really? Let me ask ChatGPT.
You don't go out at night,
Wow.
skeptic.
See, you didn't even know Polaris was in the sky. See, that's
Where is
how
it?
you learn from this, right? Because this is reality stuff. Everyone can do this.
Yeah, it's true. I think ChatGPT says I can see Polaris, the North Star from Morocco.
Yeah.
True.
Right, so you can measure an angle to it if you had an
Yeah,
angle
that's it.
measuring device.
You couldn't, I guess, skeptic, in that case, you couldn't just go outside in the dark on a clear night, you couldn't point it out. You wouldn't even know where to look then.
Hmm.
Yeah. So you are going to learn from this.
I think a lot
First
of
off,
people are like that. Yeah.
yeah. First off, find out where it is.
Okay. Then
Measure an angle to it.
okay.
Then
So
you
what's
check.
the
Then you check your latitude, because
okay,
your
I'll do that.
latitude should match that angle.
Do you know the Big Dipper, Skeptic? You know that?
No.
A frying pan,
Oh,
a
okay.
big pan. No.
The baby is bothering me like come on. This.
Okay, so this is something that everyone can do, and then you can move north or south 69 miles and measure another angle. Do the same thing again to make sure that there's a 1 degree change, because that's what's reported by people. And you could also check your latitude at that place as well, because then you'd be like verifying that there was a certain distance between a 1 degree line of latitude. Just to verify it, because that's what happens in reality right now. What the flat earthers have been doing is they put they start that line at 90 degrees. You might have seen people doing that, put triangles there and they put 90. Although I don't think anybody's ever actually verified that measurement of 90. I don't think it can be verified, to be honest, but you have to grant them for this particular argument that there is a 90 point. And then you measure 90 divisions of 69 to get to the equator, which is the place where you can't see Polaris anymore, to measure any more angles. It's the basis of this argument. Now, do you reckon that would be like an Illuminati sort of thing that people have been keeping hidden from the flat earthers, or, you know, like some sort of secret handshakey sort of stuff? Or is it something that everyone can do, providing you've got an angle measuring device? And I would personally, Elder Bear came up with this because, you know, he questioned a measurement or measured flat to an angle. And now what we've found out, that no one's bothered doing it. No one. Hands up. How many people have actually measured an angle to Polaris? It may be just me. There's not many. There's not many things that you can actually check in reality whether it's sort of true or not. I won't tell you the other ones, 33. Because the Illuminati things will start flying, won't they? Perpendicularity, you can check that as well. There's another one.
Yeah, we had that conversation to try. Well, what is constant? What can be said to be constant for everybody? That's what we were looking for a week or two back, pondering. You know, what is real and factual in reality that everybody can bet their farm on. It seems there's not many things really. I mean, even Brenda, you know, wants to use it in Brenda's model quite happy to use it in Brenda's model, but seems to want to argue the toss about whether it is actually true and whether it's possible to verify it.
Yeah.
But claims it can
Sounded
verify
similar
it.
to what Nathan Oakley and
Yeah.
the other people have been saying, that they don't actually need to check it themselves. Yet they're questioning. I mean, Brenda was questioning us about it, but I don't know what needs questioning. Like, you've either checked it for yourself or you haven't. Simple as that. Nathan Oakley's been claiming now since 2024 that it's measured flat by measuring an angle. Now, we did tell him that you can do fuck all with an angle. Told him that many times, and he did go off his head. He even came over here of a weekend.
Yeah, I've certainly heard it a lot in the Discords, YouTubes. Heard it a lot on 24/7. I kind of posed this to them today, and over the last week or two, since I've been asking them about to clarify the 69 miles of the 1 degree or the circumference of the Earth, they claim they've never done it. It's never been said. You never heard anybody here say it. Who said it? Have you got a timestamp? When was it? I asked them again today. Well, who did it? Who did it? Where'd you get this evidence from? I said, well, on your home server, you say, go to the home server, 24/7 home server. We've got terabytes of information there, terabytes of proof. Well, it's in there. That's where it is. That's where it says exactly these things. Go and look in the celestial navigation file, 24/7. It's there. And strangely enough, most of them are based on Nathan Oakley videos or 10th Man. So this guy they want to distance themselves from and have banned from 24/7 because he's got some embarrassing data that's unobservable and they can't back it up. And they've just realized they can't back it up. They find embarrassing. They're trying to stop people from mentioning it. All the soldiers, the old flat earth soldiers, they're trying to put them off from bringing up these old arguments because the narrative has changed. Well, the evidence is with them. I got it from you. You told me the numbers, and you verified it in your resource pages. The numbers are there. So don't tell me you haven't said it. You might lie and sit and lie about, oh, I've never said it. Who have you heard say it? I heard Indio yesterday. One of these sort of see is he an icon or a legend? I think is his role on 24/7. Said you can't have latitude or longitude without the sky. Can't be derived on the Earth. That's his statement. And yet they say, don't look at the sky to measure the Earth. And that is what they do. And with the numbers. It's not my fault. I've just observed the data and came up with some questions about it and then come round to formulate an argument based on that given data.
Yeah, Indio's old school. He goes way back to the time when Emma was being took out of 24/7. I guess you could say. He was telling me that I should keep away from Emma because they've got a file on her. He goes back to old school times. As far as I can remember, I think he was living on a military base at that time. I don't really remember that time. It's like a dark sort of time when I first came into the internet.
You want about Jose?
Indio.
It was Jose that was living on the military base. Yeah, Jose Meza. Indio used to work for Raytheon.
Yeah, is
That's
that,
what I remember about him.
that's the one that Mark Sargent was involved in, was it? The that group, or I don't know.
I think it was like a defense contractor or something, Raytheon, if anyone.
Raytheon, yeah, they are, yeah. Amongst
Yeah.
other things. Electronics, radios, radar, engineering, that kind of stuff.
That was that.
Yeah, I guess he got away with it because he's like, got grandfather rights. He's the OG of OGs or something, and his narrative, I could see, well, that won't fit with the new narrative, but somehow, I guess, because he is who he is, people deferred to him and didn't pull him up and say, well, you can't say that now.
Well, initially when I went to go and talk to 24/7, because we kept away from him for quite a while, and Critic came over and invited us. He said, you should come over. And I said, are you sure you're ready for it, right? Because I don't want to cause any problems. Are you absolutely sure? And Crit said, yes, it's a good idea. It seems like he's changed his mind now. But, I mean, he did come over here and say that. And that's how we ended up to go over there. And then Peter did his thing and all of that. So that's why we went back. But I did initially go back over there because I'd noticed on Twitter that Indio had become friendly with the Flat Earth Friday crew. And I was wondering, because the Flat Earth Fridays and the Twitter guys were getting more coverage and stuff, when the 24/7 guys were going to get involved, because Indio was already part of it. So I went over there to ask them, and they didn't seem to know anything about the Twitter. It was dead weird. Does seem to be whenever you go over there to talk to them about things, they don't seem to know what's going on in the rest of the community. Like, somebody doesn't know what Nathan's doing, and nobody else knows what, Blue Marble said about stuff, and nobody knew about Rumpus and his test, and nobody knows anything about what's going on in the arena, it seems.
Of course.
But then when you come to it and ask them about what's being happening in reality, they don't know that either. They just make claims about stuff. It's like it's all scripted, and no one's bothered checking anything.
Yeah, they just seem to be able to shift the goalposts and carry on regardless. Like Nathan did today, and seemingly he will carry on. Now he's just left with measured flat.
Yeah.
He doesn't care about the numbers, doesn't care about proving it, doesn't care whether Polaris exists anymore. He said now he's even abandoned his sister, who he said he'd never measured an angle of Polaris. He think maybe his sister did.
Yeah, she might have measured circles of that, because that was Jardo, right? Jardo come in to tell Nathan that there are circles of equal elevation, right? His argument was based upon those circles, but he was trying to get rid of them. He was trying to dismiss them just down to an angle.
Yeah. And this is the stuff that he's been preaching for nearly 2 years now. Elevation angles, latitude, Polaris, 1 degree, 69 miles. And it's been some long, boring, 10th man lectures and presentations over the past couple of years that has compounded that. And then all the images on Nathan's screen every day, they're all based around that. They're all a flat earth inside of a ball.
Yeah, systematically.
Triangles.
We're going to take away every argument, because they haven't got argument. Brenda's trying to give Nathan arguments that he hasn't got. He's got a claim of measured flat, which is obviously nonsense with this argument. I mean, obviously other arguments have been around for ages, but you've heard people like Brenda and Blue Marble and all of that defending the elevation change. argument for the flat earthers. So they've been trying to justify arguments for each other for quite a while. Now, this one, don't know how they get around it. This is something that happens in reality.
Yeah, I had a top 24/7 guy today arguing with me that because the flat screen TV could be called flat, but obviously the Earth is also as flat as a flat screen TV. You just got to zoom out, and there it is. Not having zoomed out himself or anybody else who has.
God view.
Claiming
I mean, that really is starting to get to me, that.
When you zoom out. Yeah. Yeah.
God view. I'm like, I'm not God. And I can't even imagine what it'd be like to be God and look at it like that. I don't presume to ever have done that. In fact, I'm beginning to take offense at anybody that's telling me to do that. Put yourself in the position of God. It's like, no. I don't want to do that.
Why would you even do that?
Well, that's what they do, isn't it? Zoom out.
Zoom out, zoom in, zoom out.
Seems that a whole lot of people want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know,
if you zoom into your TV screen, you'll find it's not flat. But why would you do that?
You get mountains. They think they can generate mountains with a microscope.
Mm-hmm.
They got some microscopic picture of a piece of paper, sheet of paper. Said, see, look, it's not flat. Oh, does it need to be different to write on then?
That's what we've been saying. Like, yes, it's not flat. Well done.
Why did you need to measure it? Because it wasn't up to your standards? You needed something better? You should have bought the more expensive paper. Not the cheap old, printer paper you got from the store. You should have bought some premium stuff. Maybe that would have been better for you. It's that reason and consequence, isn't it? Yeah. Why would you need to zoom in? What's the problem you're trying to solve here? You can't see. There's some distortion that really annoys you on the TV. Well, that's the limits of it. You have to put up with it.
Try to prove it. It's to try to prove somehow that you can be God. You can be God to the piece of paper. You can be God to the table. You can be God to the flat screen television. So why not? Why can't you be God to the world? You just zoom out, get a God view.
My God, man.
Yeah, it's not dangerous at all to place yourself in the
goodly position.
In the role of God. That's always worked out well for people for people who believe that there is a God. It's always worked out very well, hasn't it?
I mean, it's very, very dangerous take.
So yes, choose. You have 6,210 or 24,901 if you're within that flat Earth dichotomy. That's your choice.
Two measurements in reality. Which one are you going to pick? Because you can't put them together with a flat Earth.
Oh. Fuck.
So that's sort of...
And given that nobody's actually measured that angle, there may be an argument to question that.
Well, I think if they don't acknowledge the argument as an argument, and if they say, like Nathan Oakley said today, he doesn't even need to measure the angle. I mean, you can if you want, but it won't make any difference to him. Because he doesn't even need to measure the angle. He just knows that measuring the angle measures the Earth flat. Doesn't need to verify it.
Yeah, even though the angle that he measures with the sextant that he talks about, neither of those lines are horizontal. No, neither is that which he's standing on.
And he doesn't need to check, because he said the other day, he doesn't need to check the 69 miles. Even though the measurement of the angle and the 69 miles, when put together, would have to make pi equal 2. But he doesn't even need to check that, because he's never claimed that pi equals 2, he said today.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to do the
Why would I
maths.
care?
In fact, it's
I never said
better
it.
if he doesn't do the maths, right? If he just sticks to measuring an angle that he doesn't actually have to measure himself to make the claim that's nonsense to everybody else, then he's all right. He doesn't need to do anything else other than that. How long do you think you can keep that going for in reality, right? Because Flatzoid's in the same thing. Flatzoid didn't even know how to work out the maths of the circumference to start off with. Look at the problems we had. I mean, how long ago was that? 2 weeks?
Yeah, a bit more than that, I think.
Yeah.
Remember when McToon went over it? Yeah, it's been a while. Yeah, just couldn't add it up. Hadn't even considered it, and then said that the arc that he was comparing it with on the globe was a radius.
Yeah, so they haven't got a clue, and they don't need to do the maths or the measurements, because we both went in there last night. Anybody listening? We actually went into Flatzoids for like last night and the night before, and Flatzoid won't acknowledge us in there.
Oh, really?
Leaves us in the green room without any coffee or.
He's scared to hear this
cakes.
argument. It's that destructive to the
It's
flat Earth.
terrifying.
He'd rather have people arguing about Palestine and Israel and shouting at Jewish people and them arguing with sort of propaganda movies. Who's got the right truth, the right to be right?
And Nathan Oakley.
None of them know what's right.
If you listen to Nathan Oakley's today, somebody went in there and said, Torah for you. He said, if the Earth is measured flat, and that's as far as he got, because Nathan Oakley wouldn't allow him to say any more of the argument than that.
Yeah,
that was it.
If he'd have said when, he might have got a little bit further. But
he did try and say when.
Yeah.
Oh,
but if it's been said, yeah.
Nathan Oakley can't hear the argument. Like he said today, they've gone past it because they can't. They know there are arguments out there that they can't rebut. So rather than actually deal with them, they've chosen to separate us, so we can't ask these questions to them. And it's becoming more and more apparent now that Nathan Oakley can't apply any logic, or you can't go over there and talk any logic to him. He'll just shut you down, shout at you, call your names.
Yeah, he
and
just
mute
goes,
you.
la 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 wanker. Can't hear you. I'm not listening. I'm not listening, wanker. I'm not listening. Get him out of here.
That's funny.
Yeah, that's it. He even said last week that when it was brought up on Friday, it triggered him to talk about his life being threatened. That people want to kill him.
Yeah,
because if you ask that question, if you say anything about Polaris, somebody might kill him. It was quite extreme where it came from. I don't know, but perhaps he's got some people threatening him on the side there somewhere.
Probably.
But that's what logic does to people in 2025. You saw how Brenda reacted to the...
Yeah, as I say, saw it with Brenda there, wants to come and argue about logic and logical forms and where's your conclusion. And it's in the not said conclusion. It's there. decide for yourselves. Yeah, comes with that, and then can't deal with a bit of logic.
He's actually doing it like la 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 la.
Well,
How he does it.
metaphorically is. Just want to hear what people are saying and just swears at them and comes out with nonsense.
Yeah, I know he swears at them in like he cursed them and like name calling and everything. Yeah.
Not surprised any of his streams are ever monetized anymore.
Oh, really?
You guys in the stream here, come on, jump in, because I'm gonna play an argument player. Since the argument's out there, this is probably will be making it to the on the level tunes and the I think it's already on the playlist here, right? So Elder Bear's argument. We like to present things in a better way. You'll have never heard an argument presented as this ever. Because we like to do it. We like to do it differently, right? So please remember this argument. It's the measured flat destructive dilemma. And I just need to nip to the toilet, so I'm going to play this here now. Jump into the thing so you can listen to it. They will be able to hear you guys in Discord while it's on. Okay, here we go. Oh, wait a minute.
Bring an angle to Polaris. If it is said that the Earth is measured flat by measuring an angle to Polaris, for every 69 miles measured along a north-south longitude, there will be a 1 degree change in the angle measured to Polaris. This can be personally verified. Therefore, the distance between the GP of Polaris 90 degrees and the equator 0 degrees will be 90 times 69 statute miles. This is 6,210 linear Earth miles. Each of these measured angles also coincides with the given circles of equal elevation known as latitude lines, thereby describing the equator as a concentric circle centered at the North Pole, with a given radius of 6,210 statute miles. The circumference of the equator on measured flat Earth is said to be the same as the given distance on the globe model. This is 24,901 miles. The circumference of a circle is derived from the geometric function 2 pi r or pi d. The logical form of the destructive dilemma is if P, then Q. If R, then S. Not Q, therefore not P.
Here we go.
Not S, therefore not R.
If the Earth is measured flat with a radius of 6,210 miles, circumference of the equator of 24,901 miles. If the circumference of the equator is 24,901 miles, with a radius of 6,210 miles. If the Earth is measured flat with a radius of 6,210 miles, whose circumference of the equator must be 39,019 miles. circumference of the equator is 24,901 miles. With a radius of 6,210 miles. Then the value for pi must equal 2, not s, therefore not the measured flat Earth, destructive dichotomy, leaves the flat earther claiming that the Earth is measured flat with a tough choice. Choose wisely.
There you go.
Hey.
Nobody's ever heard an argument presented quite like that before.
That's a good tune.
Yeah. So you'll definitely have never heard Nathan Oakley or Brenda or anybody present an argument like that. But it is a valid argument. Like Brenda said, rule of inference. I can remember. Can you remember voicing that, Emma? The rule of inference. I think it was...
No. I don't remember.
Remember when you did the very first modus tollens? That we did. The not a spherical object.
No.
The script for that involves the modus tollens being a rule of inference argument.
It has been like 6 years of
I know.
random stuff in my brain.
Yeah. But I heard it recently. I mean, that's all I'm going over because AI Overlord played it to the 24/7 guys.
He played my voice.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, he found that argument that you did from a bit ago, and he played it. Yeah.
Oh, and how did that go down?
He like, you know, the flat earthers have these certain claims that they've got, right? About the only thing they're going to have left is the gas pressure without a container, because they have the measured flat, obviously, which is this argument falsifies that, but they have the other one that water is level. Well, that was the argument, and he, AI Overlord, in his we're going to go over it because we're into the argument straits now, right? We found out. So yeah, we will be going over that, but AI Overlord basically said that it's not exclusive to a flat earth that level is horizontal. I think he allowed it on a sphere. We'll have to go over it, but that's the way it's claimed. So that's been taken away from the flat earthers now. I mean, that depends. Like, this claim Nathan Oakley's been making for quite a long time. Obviously now, who else has said it? Because anyone that said measured flat by measuring an angle to a light in the sky will have to deal with the 69 miles. You know, how they can have pi equaling 2. How does it work? Because it is measured in reality. The only problem with it is when somebody states it's measured flat. That's the ridiculous claim. Music video. I don't know what I could do with the video for that, but I'm guessing it'd be quite good if we could do like a slideshow like QE has for his arguments. Exclamation mark and sort of like a biro.
No, absolutely not. Do not do anything like Huey. Do the opposite.
I don't know about media. I'm too busy writing songs and stuff. This is the sort of stuff we should be doing anyway. Going over arguments. Logicians for hire. That's what we need. We need some logicians to come and, check our argumentation.
Yeah, I mean, reading about rhetoric, that people were training people in sophistry for money back in the day, but I didn't come across them charging for good rhetoric, good arguments. But I guess they did. There was a business in teaching people argumentation.
Yeah, I think it was writing speeches for people.
Yeah,
Was where the money was, but
I guess the politicians and things are doing the same now, aren't they?
yeah.
Or anybody writing speeches like that.
But this was, I'm guessing it was like the symposium where people were throwing about these arguments and discussing them, the validity of them and stuff. But that seems to be what they've shut out. Like, I keep comparing, reality and the normal life to those sort of times. But can you imagine in the symposium with Plato and Aristotle sort of all discussing these arguments and stuff, and how that would be related to today? Because Nathan Oakley wouldn't be able to listen to you. They'd be building walls so they couldn't hear arguments from the other side of the room, keeping people out. It's a really weird place that we've ended up in, isn't it?
Yeah.
In an arena where people literally can't hear arguments. They won't allow people to present an argument to even discuss. And it's only going to get worse. The more people that know about these arguments and stuff, like you'll find out whenever you try and ask people about it, how touchy they get. They can't verify a 69-mile distance now between a 1 degree measurement. How would you make pi equal 2? So I don't know what they're going to do, but I mean, it's been quite obvious that the Earth's not been flat for quite a while. Now, how many times we've been saying it? They like to try and think, that it's going to help by calling us flat earthers. But, I mean, that doesn't work. Because, I mean, I've been saying it for ages. The Earth's not flat. You're going to have to come up to and realise. We've been given logic so we can derive things of our own, using our own ability of being able to derive shit on our own. It's no good asking other people questions and stuff unless you're actually doing some work yourself. What do you say? What's Mike created? Prior tragedies. Yeah, he was talking about George. Bringing like old times back. How far's everybody's arguments progressed? How did we all end up here? Flat Earth has been decimated. But if we 69 the real globe, at least we'll get one step closer to knowing something about reality. Might learn a bit of geometry and shit on the way. I'm guessing though, right? Most people aren't bothered about arguments. They're not bothered about logic. They're not bothered about angles. And they're not bothered about distances. They're just bothered about arguing. But it's not really arguing. Bickering.
Yeah, argue. No arguments.
But I'm guessing if, like, Brenda starts teaming up with Nathan Oakley, and there's a team of people that don't actually have arguments, but they can sort of allow each other to think that they've got arguments and that they're actually rebutting arguments between each other, then how long do you think it can go on? It's been going on for 5 years at least, with a blatant fallacious modus tollens on the table as being the only argument. I have actually seen some other arguments. I probably could dig them out, but they're a bit
I
woeful.
managed to get
really.
over 10 years so far, I guess. Depends how much attention is given to it, and if anybody really cares, I guess.
I'm guessing no flat
So, yeah.
earther would ever take it on or even look at it or repeat it. I'm guessing now that the flat earthers will be struggling to measure the 69 miles or the 1 degree. Nathan Oakley sort of shot himself in the foot, really, because no other flat earther is now even going to attempt to measure an angle to Polaris, which is Nathan Oakley's claim of measured flat. No flat earthers have actually done it. At least I've never asked all of the flat earthers, but every flat earther I've had chance to ask hasn't measured an angle to Polaris. Even though Nathan Oakley says that's how you measure the Earth flat. So I don't know whether they just trust him, even though he says he's never done it, or whether they just don't trust him and they don't listen to him and don't believe a word he's saying. Although there are a lot of flat earthers that have said that. Measured flat. And if they don't measure it flat by measuring an angle to a light in the sky, then how do they measure it flat?
Yeah, it's a staple, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wits that say, only within the last week, they're still saying it. That's what else can be said.
But they don't know how. There's no method, is there? There's never been a method of how they do it, other than Nathan Oakley when he's measuring an angle to the light in the sky, which must be an angle measurement of the light in the sky and 69 miles in between. I think they'll be talking about George, if they are talking about George over there, because I told them that George helped us with the equipotential angle of adjustment, which is a very real thing on the dogmatic globe. Has to be. Can't get away from it. George helped us name it. God rest his soul. And it was sort of his last work, when we were doing it.
Yeah, he actually did work.
Apparently, yes. Calibration center and all that. He was the top mathematician and engineer. I think of him as a Jesse Gordon character, but with credibility. So yes, thank you, George, for all of the help, RBD Face, and all of the work that you tried to do to sustain the dogmatic globe. And it's a shame that you were stopped from helping yourself and us learn more about this. But you did give us the equipotential angle of adjustment, so thank you very much.
Ta-da-da.
Thanks for the quest.
So,
Oh, yeah.
where do we go from here? The argument. Do you wanna have a go at like trying to explain the argument to somebody who doesn't really understand the argument as to how it works?
Yeah, I mean, there's somebody who
Yeah.
who doesn't know. I mean,
How would you present this argument to somebody who doesn't really understand the argument? You know, like what's the I say the idiot's guide to this argument. It may help, right? If you know.
yeah, find an idiot's guide.
Got some help. I would say that if you have to, first off, step one, the base thing about this argument is that there is a measurement that's made in reality that can be verified. That's integral.
Yeah.
Now that measurement is done, and nobody thinks anything of it. You put your measurement on the map, you go 69 miles, you measure an angle, and that's something that is done in reality by everybody. And nobody, well, I say by everybody, it's just a measurement taken in reality with no consequences or anything that people do. And you can verify it in reality, isn't it? That's the start off, the first base thing about what's going on here.
Yeah. Yeah, and then I guess, we have the base geometry of it, the relationship between a radius and a circle. And there is a calculation for that. Which would be 2 pi r or pi d, the diameter multiplied by pi, which is 3.14, and a few other numbers, but generally used as 3.14. And by multiplying the diameter by that number, you'll get the circumference of that circle. So there's a definite relationship between those two things. So when the flat Earth measure that distance along flat Earth radius line running from the North Pole to the equator, which is a circle, and that would be the radius. You can see that as the radius, and that would describe the circle if you rotated it around the center, and you'd form a circle. And that relationship is, dare I say, godlike. It's kind of there. It's not a manufactured.
Yeah, that's a
construct.
mathematical.
It's not a man.
Yeah.
Yeah, a man didn't come up with it. It's an amazing kind of thing that is true for all circles, and the relationship between the radius and the circumference. Can't get away from it. And so if you're given two values that don't match, then you have to question those values. You either go from the radius and take the radius and see if the circumference fits, or the circumference and see if the radius fits. If neither fit with the given numbers, then they will return a value independently. So the radius will give a value and the circumference will give a value. If they don't match each other, and something's not correct, something's not being done, it should be easy to work out what the difference is. So to make that claim that the Earth is measured flat with a radius of 6,210 miles, and the circumference can't be the number they give it, 24,901, has to be 39,019. Equally, if the circumference is 24,901, the radius is 6,210, does not work. Has to be 3959. Or if you have that value of 6,210, then the value for pi must be 2. So you would multiply the diameter, which would be 2 times 6,210 by 2 to get the distance around the whole circle. And as we know, the constant of the value of pi is 3.14, and a few other numbers, onward, never ending.
Yeah, one of the ways out of it is to not make the distance between a 1 degree change 69 miles and change that. I mean, that is another option that was talked about.
Change that value.
Yeah.
And in order to do that, it's around 44 miles.
But then you could verify it. That's the whole point of you being able to verify this original 69 miles. To stop that from being one of the resultant things. Because if you've already verified it can't be that, then you can take that one out of the equation, can't you?
Yeah, and if it were 44 miles, that's way, way outside the variance that Brenda was talking about.
Yeah.
It's about 68.85, something like that, to 69.14.
Yeah.
So it's very small. It's not a significant amount in that calculation. If it was 44 miles, of course, it would return. If it was 44 miles per degree, then they would match. But that's way off. It's not like somebody saying, well, it's only a couple of miles. You wouldn't really notice.
Yeah, you'd be able to measure the angular difference with a protractor and a straw if it was 44 in reality.
Yeah.
Or, there's the other one that Brenda was trying to say, that how do you know the maps are giving you a value of 69 miles in between these points? I mean, they could be wrong, but I doubt it. We do have really accurate maps. They pride themselves. These are professional people.
Yeah.
They pride themselves on their work. They reportedly triangulated the UK to within 2 inches, I think. But they may be even more accurate than that now.
Yeah.
So they're not going to be out over 69 miles, right? They're not. They're not at question at all. The maps are standard. The highest accuracy.
In the history of man. I mean, when they were seafaring people, they needed a clock. They needed some kind of timepiece that was accurate. And the king gave a prize, awarded this prize of like £25,000, which would be millions in today's money, for somebody to find, to solve this problem of having an accurate timepiece so that they could navigate with. They needed to be precise because, it's about, as Nathan says, to save lives. I mean, this number has to be correct to save lives. The shipping, the navigation, land, sea, and air relates to these numbers in order to do that. Logistics. You need to know distances for fuel and supplies, kind of thing. It's not like, when there's brave people who set out in their boats and just said, right, let's keep going in that direction.
Yeah.
Where are we going? Don't know. Let's just come on. Really? Yeah, come on. Woohoo! Let's go.
Let's hope there's something over there.
Yeah, weeks and weeks and weeks. Nothing but water, maybe. And then they see something in the distance, few birds flying. Hang on, must be some land around here, some birds. And come across something and make that adventure. Because it wasn't necessarily needed to be totally accurate, you know, and a lot of those weren't. They gave you a kind of triangle of where you are. You're in this kind of this area. Because once they approach, I mean, once they've made these journeys, they know where they are. They recognise the landmarks. I mean, much later in history, and they're sailing, and then they get within a few miles, and they can look. They see a land. They come across the land, and they go, "Oh yes, look, there's that landmark over there." And then it's easier to target your sailing on the port or the landmass you arrive at. You just got to get in that direction, go in the right direction, have a good idea about where they are, not too far off. Maybe it's pretty accurate now, but they prided themselves on being within a certain amount of, 5 or I think 5 or 10 miles would be an incredible feat for many. Would think, yes, that's 5 miles we got to. Others might have been 50, 100 miles. Variance of where they are. Exactly. In the early days, I think they hugged the land. They followed the coastline. And they were traveling around.
Yeah, they have a go at mapping the coastline first as they follow it. Looking for a cove or something to make land.
Yeah. Yeah, so of course that mapping has to be accurate. Some of the things I've read about the things that they constructed, which seems quite incredible. Long, solid glass tubes, straight as they could be made, and put them on trestles, these kind of supports, get them exactly horizontal as their reference, and to triangulate off and start their measurement. Seems something of the industrial age. Imagine that being done, but
yeah,
incredible precision. How precise could they be with their engineering and their techniques to get as close as they could? And it was a pride of their work.
And for the entire country, right? I'm not speaking for anybody else's country because I don't know, but to be honest, the impression I'm getting is that, you know, I know how precise they were when they made these maps. I've talked to people about it. I've been to Ordnance Survey offices in the Lake District. They have, they do a lot of maps and all of that. So you talk to them about, how the maps were made and all of that. They're precise as anything. Like, people rely on them. Not only Nathan and his, mariners relying on lives at sea. Well, these maps are relied upon for hiking across mountainous regions, even in the UK, a small little place. They rely on the accuracy of the maps.
Yeah, I imagine the military, for military and accuracy, they would have needed it, for defense.
Yeah.
That kind of thing, to know where they were, so they could plan an attack or a defense strategy should they need one in the days of conquering and pillaging and things that was going on in the formulation of societies, if all that stuff is true.
Defensive positions and all of that sort
but
of
people
stuff,
were trying to take over the land and appear on the coastline and say, hello, we'll have some of this. And battles were fought. It was essential for military strategies and people knowing where they were and how to get from A to B in the shortest time. And get around. Oh wow, there's a mountain over there. You know, you got to go around there. Logistics. You know, I mean, some of the the stuff that was built in the Victorian times. You know, the iron bridges, the viaducts, the canals, massive engineering projects that seemingly seem to have been done with a piece of wood and a bit of string. You kind of feel about that. And, you know, Fred Dibner, that guy, Fred Dibner, who demolished, well, he repaired chimneys, massive chimneys that were in the industrial times, and he just strapped a ladder to the side of these chimneys and climbed up. No scaffold. Well, he took the scaffold up, pulled the scaffold up, and built the scaffold hundreds of feet up in the air, in the wind. No safety equipment, standing on a scaffold board on the top of a chimney. And then years later, after he'd been repairing them, they didn't want them anymore. He was then, you know, destroying them. What's the word? Yeah, taking them down when they weren't needed anymore. And that was an incredible thing, watching him do that. Put a big hole in, put a load of wood in, prop it up, and then set fire to it. So the props burnt, the chimney fell down. Just you know, wood and a piece of paper. It's amazing. And that was all built, you know, all in the understanding of engineering, principles of engineering, how things stay up and how things come down. So, yeah, some incredible feats were done in those times. A lot less tools than we've got nowadays, technology. And people, yeah, people were proud of the work they were doing.
Yeah, you can do these sort of things on your own, simple, with an angle measuring device and a map.
Yeah.
But I mean, I am surprised at how little. Would you call it faith? Is this one of those points in time where you could say, Brenda and everybody seems to have very little faith in the maps for their country? I mean, they're always questioning us, and I know our maps are accurate to scale, some of the best. Like I say, accuracy. I always presumed that the same could be said about America. But
yeah,
don't know. It does seem that everyone we talk to, they haven't got much faith in the maps.
Yeah, I've seen some historical stuff of people, you know, the guys who are mapping in America, you know, they had pack mules and had all their equipment and they were up and down the mountains. That was real pioneering, setting out, you know, with not knowing what animals were going to be there or anything that might want to come and eat you in the night or anything, in all weathers. Just a few pack horses climbing up with all their equipment up and down mountains across the plains and mapping it. And yeah, I guess they've maybe been made more accurate, or I don't know how much more accurate they could be, but over the time. But those have stood the test of time.
Yeah, no faith in the map making process, no faith in the distances that would be measured, no faith
And I don't
in
think people
being able
consider
to
it, do
measure
you?
their
You
own
know,
angle.
I mean, these days you might go, you know, on your Google Maps and it says, you know, these are the directions and you'll arrive in 2 hours, 11 minutes and 143 miles, and it just ticks off and nobody pays account of it. I know that if I drive my car, and it's at 30 miles an hour on the speedo, that those speed cameras that show your speed through small villages and towns, my car is when it's on 30, it's about 27. Only because I changed the size of the wheels on it. So it's I can change it in the computer if I want, but yeah, it's, you know, we can get some something relative to what we're doing. We know, we can see, you know, if they're accurate, if it's accurate or not. within a little. I mean, but nobody's really aware of the measurements because they're not physically doing it. And I guess even less now, because at one time you did rely on maps. You went from A to B by reading the map and remember, right? When I get to that road there, I've got to turn, go on that main road. You remembered it, it's on the map. You look for the signs. And now it's sat navs, things like that. You don't even hold that in the memory. Up the next roundabout, take the third exit. I've often driven with sat nav and think, where have I been? I don't even remember where we went because you haven't gone through the process of looking at a map, condensing where you're going and understanding and remembering the routes.
I used to, it was tough work trying to follow a map, back in the day.
Yeah. And I think
when you didn't know somewhere and you had to follow the map and you had to actually drive whilst trying to remember what lane you've got to be in, that was awful.
Yes.
Trying to rely on somebody else to do the map while you're driving, that was even worse.
Yeah, I do remember, just having faith that it was correct and keeping to it. And I do find even sat navs, particularly if you're abroad, in Europe, in an unknown place somewhere, and you've got to find a lane. You've got to pick a lane because it's going to filter off somewhere. That's going to be, to trust the sat nav is not. I've often found myself in places that don't exist, or the car, or the avatar of the car is just floating. Sometimes it's floating on water because you're near some water and the road's changed and the map hasn't updated. You think, oh, how many miles have I got to go before it clicks back into the old map in the system and it finds itself again? Yeah, so we are becoming much more removed from reality in all things, I think, with everything becoming digitized. Went out yesterday, it was a family for a meal, and I went in the place, so we booked a table. Said, he said, just do the QR code on your table to order. I said, what? He said, there's a QR code on your table. I said, just show me what you're doing. So we go to the table and there's a QR code on the end of the table. So you put your phone, a camera on, and you read the QR code and it takes you to the order page. And then you order your food and pay for it on this app. And if you've chosen, depending on what you've chosen, some guy at the checkout, I guess, he sees what you've ordered and then he brings the appropriate plates and glasses that you'll need. And because it was a self-service buffet place, and so what happens if you haven't got a phone or you don't want to do this? I said, can you pay by cash? We haven't taken cash in the space of 5 years. And we don't take cards. This is the only way you can eat here is to use this code. So removed from. I found it. Maybe it's old school. I found it was just really uncomfortable thinking, well, it's just a system of knowing what you're doing. It'll know exactly where you've been, what you've done, how much you spent. For those who aren't meant to have a certain amount of money, so those maybe who are on benefits or unemployed, then they'll know if you've spent too much money. Hang on, you only got £100 a month. How come you spent 140? Where did you get the other 40 from? Yes, I think we are getting more and more distance from reality. See that with the children, with the digital stuff that they're believing in some story in digital form that they believe is real. I have no idea now with AI presenting characters and scenarios that are all AI generated and are getting very good. It'd be difficult to know whether you're watching a human or not.
Well, I don't know whether it would matter. Because if you can be like Nathan Oakley and just claim something and then claim that you don't even need to know, be able to do it yourself, you don't even need to know any of the mathematics of how it works, of the implications of the claims that you're making. You don't need to know anything about it at all. And you can quite proudly claim that to everybody, that you don't need to measure it. You don't need to know any of the mathematical implications of the claim that you're making. You just don't need to do anything. And if anybody gives you anything as a rebuttal to it, all you have to say is, I don't say that. And you've dismissed that rebuttal as well. That's 2025. This flat earth debate has turned into, that's what it is. He's renamed it.
Maybe we're the last of the thrashing dinosaurs of practical knowledge. Because when you know something, you know how to do something and measure something, fix something, construct something. When you're confronted with these numbers or somebody's idea about how things are done, when you know damn well it's not like that and it's very different and that doesn't work, then you question it. If you haven't got a clue, you haven't actually got to do it. You just got to write something about it or take a picture of it, or it isn't even necessary to have the practical experience to claim some knowledge of it. So it is a belief system. It's becoming much more of a belief system. You don't have to have any of what the implications of those measurements and the angles are in reality. And if it's pointed out you're making a mistake, you say, well, I don't care because I get paid. Still sounds good. If I miss that bit out and just keep saying, yeah, did you say elevation angle? Flat? You say an inch? Flat? Mile, you said? Flat.
Yeah, it doesn't have
How'd
to
you get
take
that?
any rebuttal.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. As soon as you said, if the earth is measured flat, that was it. There you go. No if about it. Presents itself like that. It's measured like that. Did you measure it? It is measured that way. It's the only way you can measure it. But you haven't measured it. Doesn't matter. You say elevation angle. There you go. That's all you need. Looks flat. It's as flat as a flat screen TV. It's not. Yeah, but if you zoom out, it is. I can't zoom out. Yeah, but if you could, it's going to be like that. I promise you. What about if it's not? If it's zoomed out?
If the ground,
crazy
somebody in the
ideas.
chat saying if the ground curved 1 degree, what does that mean? The ground curved 1 degree. I don't know what that means. There's a measurement of 69 miles between this measurement of 1 degree change to the light in the sky. I don't get what a curved degree is. It's just an angle measurement. That's the void. I don't know if the ground curved 1 degree. I don't know whether you'd be allowed to say that in a premise, because it doesn't make any sense, does it? If the ground curved 1 degree every 69 miles. No, there's a 1 degree change to the angle to the light in the sky. I don't get that. Is that scary? What, that you stating things that are nonsensical? I don't know. It is 2025. There are people who do say make nonsense statements, a bit like Nathan Oakley claiming that it's measured flat. I mean, that's a nonsense statement as well. I don't know what language that is, but it seems to be suggesting that grammar is worldly knowledge. So that'd be good, worth checking out.
So they're good at math and grammar. Nice.
That would make sense, right, with the grammar, because the grammar, when we had Raven round, the grammar was the word, and the word was the thing that it was describing. Some were more accurate than others, but it is within the grammar. One of the things that you have to go back and check that your shadows are correct. So I guess that is sort of where you gain your knowledge. Every 69 miles represents 3,000 feet of drop from the starting point due to Earth curve. 69 miles is just a distance, though, between a 1 degree change in to... I don't think there's drop involved in it. I don't think
not
it
in the
works
measured
like
flat.
that. Yeah, no, it's a...
Yeah.
Well, not even in the measurement of the thing in reality, right? Because you measure it on a map. And you don't measure elevation changes. Of
how many feet did they say?
3,000 feet.
All right. So this is what I've been thinking about recently. So if you're at this place, everybody's looking for a drop. So if it's 3,000 feet, if you go 3,000 feet and you turn round, won't you be looking uphill? You'll be looking at a curve upwards.
Yeah, that's what
How do you know where you are, whether you're in a place where you should be looking up or looking down for the curve?
Well, I think you could do it. You know, you could go back again the other way and drop back down another 3,000. That's the way the main surveyor was telling me when I was originally going over this with McToon. It's just a drop always. So you just constantly get lower.
If you turn around, you got to be going uphill.
No, you go down again.
Down again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always down. Always a drop.
Yeah.
That's the way it works.
Yeah. But let's not think about that. That might be logical to think about.
Well, that's globe. I mean, it has to be. Nobody's claiming it proves anything. 80 being the claim is that if the Earth is measured flat with these angles, then the flat Earth have a problem with their equatorial size, right? The length of the equator can't relate to the radius, which it should, but it can't. So it's people who claim that the Earth's measured flat, that actually this is focused. It's a focused, directed argument to a nonsensical claim of if the Earth is measured flat. Since in reality, this 69 miles is actually measured and verifiable by anyone that chooses to want to be able to verify it just to make sure. No, nobody's on an imaginary ball, and nobody's wants to imagine anybody. Nobody's providing anybody else or telling anybody else that they're going to be stood on the side of a ball. Because That's ridiculous. Nobody's ever going to pretend that that's sort of going to happen. What we're stating is, in reality, there are measurements that you can take. Please don't imagine yourself on the side of a ball.
No, I mean, in the measured flat, yeah, and the measured flat claim, then, well, the ball has been taken out of it, been made all flat. It's all flat from one place to another. Not a consideration of any ball. Been decided that you can measure an angle to light in the sky. You create a straight, flat, horizontal 69-mile distance. Move another degree away, you get another 69 miles. Flat, horizontal, flat mile linear from the North Pole all the way to the equator. They've told us, 10th man, 5,400 nautical miles, 6,210 statute miles. No, there's no curve involved in it, and it can't be, otherwise, they'll call you a wanker. You can't do that. Has to be. That's the claim. He's trying to put a drop in there. Whew, no, certainly not. Okay, that's how you measure it. That's how you state it's done. It must be that. And it must be conform, the numbers must add up. If they don't add up, then either you're wrong or I'm wrong. And I've checked it a few times now. It keeps coming out of the same result. But you claim it doesn't happen like that. Those who claim that say, no, you're wrong. So make a choice, I guess. Which one you want to go with? If this is reality, then it has to add up.
No, ATB and go, that's not, we're not saying these are based on a globe. These are real globe measurements. When you go out there and do it, these measurements, in reality, it's on the real globe. That's where you're taking these measurements. Now, nobody's saying that it's a sphere. Nobody's telling you that you have to stand on the side of a ball. You don't. These are made in reality. Nobody's saying that the real globe is a sphere. It's obviously not. You don't live on that little childhood model. You have to acknowledge that these are measurements that are made in reality. Yeah, distances, it's all that's needed on the ground. Yeah, 69 miles. They are real life measurements, but the problem comes when somebody says measured flat. That's the problem. That's what this argument is specifically targeting. Not just that they're measured in reality, because they are measured in reality. It's that they're measured flat. That's the claim made by certain people that this argument has been made for. But now, we did hear today that the person who this argument has been specifically made for, because he's the one that makes the claim, Nathan Oakley, he won't address any arguments because it doesn't matter to him how much logic you've got and how much, like you can prove what happens in reality. It literally doesn't matter to him. He's going to continue to make this claim anyway, in respect of any arguments that are presented to him stating that it doesn't actually happen the way he thinks it does. And nobody around him is ever going to tell him, because they're not brave enough. Because they can't work out how he did it either. They're just trusting him that he's doing it. all of the people in the south, the ones that can't even see Polaris, they've got no way of verifying it either. So they're going to have to believe Nathan Oakley. He's their man. He's the one that's making the claim. That's what this argument is for. It's to rebut the nonsense claims of people who state that the Earth's measured flat. Knocker Norton. Nathan Oakley's book isn't going to come out. He can't. Nathan can't make a claim, because any claim that any flat earther makes can be placed at the premise 1 of a modus tollens. And a modus tollens is a falsification. So any claim that a flat earther ever makes, like Nathan Oakley, and puts in a book, much like the fallacious modus tollens that QE's done, and will be able to be turned into a falsification. And then, since they can't rebut arguments, they actually repel against them, to be honest. It's like garlic to a vampire. It's an argument to a flat earther. Oh, we might be able to make that a bit of an analogy. That'd be good, that, right? It's like an argument to a flat earther. They come out in a rash. So yeah, Nathan Oakley's book won't actually happen. He can't make any claims because, I mean, what's he going to say? He says anybody if he puts a book out there with arguments, right? He's going to have to explain how the circumference of his equator on a measured flat Earth has got pi equaling 2. Now I bet that's not in the book. Should be, but
that'd be groundbreaking. That
yeah. Elderbears just made an argument about it. I mean, he never even thought about making an argument 2 years ago.
Only no, 6 months ago even.
Yeah. But when prompted to make an argument, he decided to make an argument to falsify a claim about the Earth being measured flat by measuring an angle to a light in the sky. Now he's made an argument. Nathan Oakley won't rebut it. He won't even look at it. Nathan Oakley can't even hear the OG claim at the beginning that if the Earth is measured flat. He can't bear to hear it. The if is too much for him. I look forward to the book tour. Yeah, he can't talk to people. Can't talk to anybody about anything. So how can QE and Adam Meakin, Flat Earth Society guys, how can they write a book for Nathan Oakley? It'd be a setup if it was. Because you can guarantee it'll have the fallacious modus tollens not addressed. None of the issues about it. They won't be able to rewrite it. Because Nathan's been using it for years. You could end up falsifying the one radius value that it isn't stated anywhere else as that value anyway. McToon has got a thing on how to falsify the sphere, and that's because they all know it's not a sphere. You can easily falsify the sphere. Everybody should know that. AT being, right? There's a conversation that we had in the last couple of days with a guy called Geo from Earth Awakenings. He's a not flat earther that sets people up for McToon to call flat earthers. So he has a specific role. Now, he said that originally he did say that the AE map had been falsified, but then he did say that the from the point at the center, the 90 degrees to Polaris to the equator, that all of those measurements haven't been falsified. So half of the AE map hasn't been falsified because it still stands apparently as a flat earth. Only for the northern guys though, the ones that can see Polaris. I'm not too sure what happens with the southern half. Nathan Oakley won't tell us. Nobody can ask him. He says he doesn't need to know. Just you can just measure an angle there, I'm guessing.
And the guys in the south don't know.
No.
Because they're all north-centric in their minds. Everything revolves around Polaris and emanates from Polaris and the North Pole. Can't explain where they get their latitude from or which star they look at in the sky to orientate themselves at all. Some have never ever seen it.
Yeah, they always use the Polaris thing whenever you're talking. Oh, they did. I think the rhetoric is changing and the script. I think you will find less and less of that particular chat. Although, I mean, I don't know. They're hiding away in the little servers to teach themselves the new rhetoric. I'm not too sure whether Nathan Oakley's involved in it or whether he's still going with his old rhetoric. Hard to tell because they don't want to talk. Hardly surprising as well because too many arguments against them. There's a lot of flat earthers. We did this. I mean, TFE exposed, you know, the problems that were there. And I think there's plenty more arguments to come still. But when you realise that, you know, there are things that happen in reality, like I've been saying to the, you know, everyone for ages about stuff that we can do in reality. And this measurement to the light in the sky is just another one of the things that can be done. So you can bet I'm going to do it. I just need to work out an angle measuring tool that's accurate enough. And times are hard, so I'm wondering whether an £8 theodolite app on the mobile phone is stretching it a bit. But yeah, I'm hoping. I think I'll get that. It should be to 0.1 of a degree, hopefully. And everyone can do that.
Fairly recently, Nathan said he's always known there were 2 points of rotation in the sky, so perhaps he's keeping that in his back pocket for the two-pole flat Earth model that seems to be on the rise. So they haven't worked out where the crossover point for the sun is yet, in order for it to change directions, rotations.
That's the straight line at the equator.
Yeah.
Apparently. Well, I mean, that's... Jardo did come in today, who's the guy that seems like he's funding Nathan Oakley, or, you know, like sort of pat on the back money with memberships. He came in today to point out to Nathan Oakley that the equator on the flat Earth is a circle of equal altitude. Apparently. Whereas Nathan was trying to separate himself from the circle, wasn't he? Yeah. I did hear that today. So I don't know where flat earthers stand exactly when they're dealing with reality. It seems it's a little bit difficult for them to work out what's going on. And I'd say not just the flat earthers, because the dogmatic globe guys are struggling as well in their own way. But they can just sit back and watch the flat earthers do it on their own, which is the demise of the flat earthers. Not a map. Not a model is the reason for all of the alleged FE debunks since 2015. They can't debunk no curve on the ground. Can't debunk no curve on the ground, so they have to play it as no map, no model, no FE. I don't know. That's not even really coherent. All I know is that the flat earthers placed north at a point, and the dogmatic globe earthers obviously placed north at a point, and I can't do that. The implications of that are, I don't know. It's just too much. But there are people that can do it. I mean, I've talked to Brenda. Brenda's got an ability to put any cardinal direction you want at the centre. I don't know whether that would work for all of them. Go north to go south, south to go north, east to go west, and west to go east. I wonder whether you could extend that. Wonder whether you could go west to go north. just for a laugh. I wonder whether you could do that. Because if you can do the all of them, like, why wouldn't you be able to do that? Go west to go north, and then turn round and go west to go south. So, the things that people can do with their mind is becoming fantastic. 2025. If you want to come and have a chat with us, these arguments will be getting presented into a thing that I think this one should be directed specifically at Nathan Oakley. He deserves to have this argument directed directly at him, really, since he was the one that inspired it. So it's only right that Nathan rebuts it specifically, directly. If we address it to Nathan Oakley. See how it goes. If you would like to come in and have a chat, come on in. The Discord is open, as always. Come and have a chat. I will... Oh, well, I may as well put one of these one. This is another... Should I? No. Is Level Bastard still around? I redid the most knowledgeable logician that ever lived today. So I guess we'll play that one out. Thanks for listening. Like always, on the Level Discord, come and join us. The conversation will be ongoing for the rest of the night, as it is, all day as well. So pop in anytime you want. There are a lively bunch of conversations going on, mostly all the time during the day. And we're always into making new arguments. So the more you can inspire us, the better arguments we'll make. If you ever get chance to talk to Nathan Oakley, let us know. Let him know. Sorry, do you want to say something, Eldbear?
Oh, I was just saying, you know, as new people come and we have different conversations, we learn something new all the time. Just from somebody else's experience and different perspective. There's always something to learn from it, and you know that's certainly been so in recent weeks. You know, we've had an influx of different people come talk to us, and we've been able to talk to and listen to, and yeah, each conversation helps us all grow a little bit, even if it's just to break down the nonsense and be free of some of that stuff. You know, so yeah, it's certainly welcome to come and have a chat. You won't get muted, kicked out, or abused. That's for sure.
See Buster there with his thing. Are you finishing that off? Like we'll be ready for it tomorrow, or are you hanging around?
I was gonna let you guys kind of preview it, but I'm getting really close.
Okay, all right. So tomorrow there's a chance that Buster may have done his song, but if you want to come and listen to it, sounds like we're gonna get an exclusive. So come and get in the Discord. I'll just do the most knowledgeable logician, but maybe you might be able to get a preview later, and we'll get a live performance at some other time. Or are you going to do it now?
Oh no! I was gonna let. Yeah.
All right. Okay. I'm going to do the most knowledgeable logician, and we'll see you in a bit tomorrow, probably. Top chat censored out my second to last comment. Yeah, come into the Discord. It's obviously the best place for anybody to talk. Much better anyway. Come on in, and I'll see you tomorrow. There we go.
It is with a mix of bewilderment and intrigue that I pen this forward for the arguments that have been presented as the self-proclaimed most knowledgeable logician that ever lived. I must confess that I approach this task with trepidation, for it is not often that one encounters an author so determined to flout the fundamental principles of logic. However, as an honest woman, I also appreciate the value of intellectual discourse, even when it comes from the most unlikely of sources. Within those words, our esteemed author presents a collection of thoughts that he audaciously labels as logical arguments. Yet upon closer examination, one quickly realizes that the author's commitment to the laws of logic is, at best, flimsy and often non-existent. We find ourselves immersed in a labyrinth of contradictions and paradoxes, where the law of identity casually disregarded, the law of non-contradiction is consistently violated, and the law of the excluded middle is summarily dismissed. One might wonder why such paralogisms deserve any attention at all, let alone a foreword from someone with my esteemed reputation. The answer lies in the importance of discernment and critical thinking. By engaging with the sophist's convoluted reasoning, we are forced to question the very foundations of logic and confront the deceptive nature of fallacious arguments. In a peculiar twist of fate, the sophist unwittingly becomes an unwitting catalyst for intellectual growth. Throughout this perplexing journey, I implore you, dear listener, to exercise your keenest faculties of reason. Question the author's assertions, dissect his claims, and challenge the paradoxical tapestry he weaves. Remember that the true pursuit of knowledge is not found in blind acceptance, but in the relentless pursuit of truth, guided by the unwavering principles of logic. Whilst it may seem unusual for the most knowledgeable logician that ever lived to lend her voice to a work that fundamentally contradicts her very being, I believe that confronting the sophist head-on, we shine a spotlight on the power of logical reasoning and the necessity of intellectual honesty. In closing, let us embark on this bewildering expedition together. Let us navigate the maze of sophistry and emerge with sharpened minds, fortified against fallacy, and armed with unyielding principles of logic strengthened by rhetoric. Though the journey may be challenging, the reward lies in the realization that even in the face of deliberate deception, the light of reason will prevail. Yours in the pursuit of truth. The most knowledgeable bishop that ever knows me. The self-proclaimed most knowledgeable legend ever lived. The self-proclaimed most knowledgeable evolution ever lived.